Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order. It's 7 p.m. on Tuesday, August 12, 2025. This is to advise the general public and to instruct that it will be recorded in the minutes that in compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Law 1975, entitled Open Public Meeting Act, Hardyston Board of Education post a meeting notice setting forth the time, date, and location of this meeting at the office of Hardyston Township Board of Education and on the district's website, and mailed to the New Jersey Herald and to the office of the Municipal Clerk of Hardyston Township. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, following a moment of silence for retired Detective Michael Petershak that served for Hardyston for the past 15 years, before moving on. Thank you.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mrs. Verso, roll call, please.
Mr. Anthony Alfano.
Here.
Mrs. Jean Barrett. Mrs. Donna Carey.
Here.
Mr. Nick Demsack.
Here.
Mr. Brian Drolick.
Here.
Mr. Ron Hoffman.
Here.
Mrs. Susan Lucarelli. Here. Ms. Clarissa Murata.
Here.
Mr. Edward Riley.
Here.
We have quorum.
Did you just start noise on it?
Nah, just a block. Just the block. I get here early and I get jammed up.
How's that?
Okay.
You want to go?
Everything's good? All right. We are entering the workshop. Are there any updates to the agenda?
Yeah. There was, hang on one second.
I think we added the substitute custodian.
No, he was there, I believe, but P27, it's new, it's a teacher that has to be placed on family medical leave. That was after the personnel committee concluded and after my minutes went out.
Okay, thank you.
What does she teach?
Science.
Okay, great. Committee reports, curriculum programs, educational technology, and community relations. I will report on behalf of Jean. We had our meeting on August 7th at 5 p.m. Present Jean Barrett, Brian, Robin, myself, Mr. Ryder, Jim, and Sue Verso. We went over all the items that are currently on the agenda, P1 to P4. We also had additional discussion. Ms. Barrett shared a book about life skills with the committee and encouraged us to think more about incorporating such curriculum into our schools. She also had commented on an article shared with Dr. Ryder about the value of reading, and there was a discussion about how to encourage students to read more. Finance, facility, and operations. Tony?
Yeah, the Finance Committee met also on August 7th. The agenda items are just academic here. The only thing that sticks out is $190,000 in transfers, and that's to end the fiscal year, academic year that just passed. We still don't have an audit from the county yet. We don't know how much money is left over going into next year. We're hoping that by September we'll have that number. Bill's list is typical, 1.3 million a month or so, no surprises. And that's about it. And facilities, we just gave the okay for few people in Wallkill Valley permission to use some of the rooms here and at the elementary school fields, the softball people. So it was nothing surprising. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't see it on the agenda, but can you, I thought maybe we could discuss just an update on the two big projects that are happening at the elementary school, air conditioning
Yes.
and the playground. So I didn't see that on there, but can you just are we on status for both of those to be operational for the onset of the school year in September?
Yes, so the electrician's done with all the electrical work. So Dave and Andy have started putting in all the air conditioners. We have them all on site, so
Okay.
they're just mounting them. They have to put plywood and everything, so that's going as planned.
Awesome.
And the
How many
playground,
again? 29?
29. Yeah, so all the classrooms will have the air conditioning.
Fantastic.
And the playgrounds,
The playground, they just responded today because we were going back and forth. There's different groups of people that work with the demolition of the old site, the landscaping of the new site, the installation of the new playground, and they're trying to coordinate now. So the new one, we were told today, I don't know what date, but we're not looking until October. So we'll be starting the year off with the old playground.
Okay.
But then hopefully in the fall, we get that all turned around and have a new playground for the preschool.
Well, they said it's like a what, 3-week, 4-week turnaround?
I think so. I think it was 3 weeks or so. 2 to 3.
All right. Thanks.
Someone from the audience said that. So. Oh, and then Jean has a question.
I was just wondering where we were at with the money that we're going for the new sign, and also what's happening with possibly painting or getting a new fence in front of the elementary school.
Painting and getting
anything.
and the sign.
Okay, Jean is asking about the
Yeah.
sign, the digital sign for the outside, as well as painting the fence.
I can answer the fence. So the fence is, they have it on their schedule to paint by the end of the summer. Once they're done inside, then they're starting on the fence.
And then with the digital sign and the RPO radios and repeater that will link all of our schools with the Partisan Police Department, we're waiting on the approval for something called the REAP grant. And they are being awarded since July 1st, but apparently it's on a rolling basis. So I believe what they're telling us is by the end of August, everybody should be notified. So I'll keep checking in, but it's really an email notification, so I'm waiting for that.
And, yeah, and I have 3 VAs that I know that are also waiting, and they just said it's on a rolling basis, so everybody sent emails, so everyone's waiting for it.
Great, thank you. I'll report on personnel and policy. It's basically covered in a P1 to P27. We talked about staffing, extracurricular appointments, specialist coordinators, merit and compensation, summer approvals, approved second, and for policy, we approved second reading of adoption, which is on the agenda tonight, 9128.01 school culture survey. We also, in every committee, we talked about legal counsel search and goal settings. And that's all I have for the personnel policy. Okay, next, we're moving to President's report. Okay, dear school community, summer is moving really fast. Please enjoy the last weeks of this beautiful weather. Stay healthy and happy as you transition back to school in September. Big news, and we talked about it briefly, our elementary school will have an air conditioning for the first time ever. If you remember how hot it got, you know this is a game changer for our kids and our teachers. We are very happy about this and want to thank everyone involved, our staff members, for coordinating this effort. Also, we conducted 3 board attorney interviews in a special meeting held on July 28th, carried the conversations into committees, and ultimately, I'm pleased to inform you that we have made a decision on the law firm tonight, outlined in F13. Once again, big thank you to all of the law firms that participated in this process and our board members for making the time. Also special thank you to Ms. Verso for seamlessly coordinating this effort. As you can see, our board is working hard to make our school great. Let's kick off the new school year with excitement and renewed opportunities. Thank you. Superintendent report.
Sure. To start off, we did have to do required by law, since we had extended school year at the elementary for the month of July. We were required to do a fire drill and a security drill. So we did both of those at the elementary school while school was in session. Fire drill was held on July 23rd, and the shelter-in-place drill was held the day after on July 24th. And to echo what our board president just said about elementary air conditioning, electricians have been busy at the elementary school making all the classrooms equipped for air conditioning for the start of the school year. We're very excited to offer this for the first time ever at our elementary school, so we hope to have very happy staff and kids during those hot days. Also, I want to remark on the school breakfast program. Both schools will be participating this year in the breakfast after the bell breakfast program this year. All students will be able to purchase milk, fruit, whole grains, or meat alternatives. Students who qualify for the National School Lunch Program will receive free breakfast, so it's very important for parents to complete a lunch application found on our website. The application is also being sent home at the start of the school year. So that is something new for both schools. From the township, thank you to Mrs. Jennifer Samaglia, elementary principal, for once again coordinating, or not coordinating, but working with the township with their Safety Town program earlier this summer. She did bus safety with the kindergarten students, and I'm told it went very well. And last but not least, our weekend update email blasts starts up again this Sunday. August 17th, it goes out at 10 a.m. And those updates can also be found if you go to our homepage on HTPS.org and you go under updates. We have all of them archived every week in case you miss your email. So stay tuned, because we have lots of information coming out, and it'll keep coming at you every Sunday. Thank you.
Real quick, how many rooms did we have in the elementary school that didn't have AC?
Well, 29 minus, how many had them? Not many, a handful.
29 didn't have them.
Well, 29, yeah, 29, 29, you're right.
How many years did we not have AC there?
All of them.
Everyone.
85.
75.
What was it, Bill, 54? What was it?
I guess the year, but I say 75. 10 years, 20 years?
This is the first time we're having air conditioning, so ever.
That's big. That's
Yeah,
big.
I mean, every now and then, a room might be outfitted with one if we had a student who required, a certain air quality in the air, then we would have a line installed for that room. And then maybe the next year, wherever that student went, maybe we had to do it again or stick with the same room, like always configure. But that's why a handful of classrooms had air conditioning before this.
It's been a long process for many boards, because we updated the electric first to make sure we have the capacity to do this. So that process was great. It took a quiet time, and then I'm happy to see it came to fruition finally. Well, this board agreed to do it, it's used something 6 months out of the 12 months, but it's definitely, we're talking about learning environment and optimal learning environment when it's 85 and muggy in a classroom. It's not easy for teachers to teach and kids to learn. So I'm very, very happy to have it start up.
Mike, I do have a question. I've noticed that many states are putting into effect the no telephone rule. What are we doing?
Telephones?
You mean with kids in the room?
Kids.
Yeah, we've tackled this years ago. It's mostly at the middle school. Elementary doesn't have a problem with this. But middle schools, we don't. We have a very, very effective policy in place, and our students follow it almost flawlessly.
What is it?
Well, we don't hold the phones for them or anything like that. A lot of schools have these pocket things in the classroom, but I never liked going that route, because I don't want to be responsible for thousands of dollars worth of technology that isn't mine. So what we tell our students is to, Schools aren't allowed in school, however, if you bring it, it should be out of sight. It should be in your backpack. It should be in the locker. And that's that. And if we see it, we take it. It goes down to the main office. It gets put into a manila envelope with the board policy on it. And
Sent to the parents.
at the end of the day, they get their phone back, but the parent has to sign that it was confiscated. And then, I forget if it's the next time or the time after, but then the parent actually has to come to the school to pick it up. So students know we're serious about it, so they typically don't mess with it too much.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. With that said, we'd like to invite Ms. Kathleen Halaba, if that's how you say it, I'm not sure, to prepare our board, our district, with school and board goals.
Thank you. Okay. So shall I use this microphone? Is that the best way? Okay.
Just have to put it on.
I
And
wonder
then I can
how I can
advance.
get this guy to,
I can either advance or you can.
oh, I can do it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, ooh, look at this, okay.
Do you need a chair?
No,
A little
I do
table
not.
or something?
I do not, but I will probably be sitting down someplace.
Oh, put the microphone on.
Or,
There's a switch.
is this switch this thing? I'm afraid of it.
That's it, you had it.
You broke it.
You can take the mic stand and go sit down if you want.
I think this will work. Okay, so, thank you,
Yeah, if you want
everybody.
to take that off, you can, like what Tony said.
Or take the mic stand with you.
That's
And
not a
adjust
bad
it.
idea. Is this okay for everybody?
Sure.
All right, great, because I'll need to like type into the slideshow. Veterans have been through this before, and I'm really pleased to be able to come back and do this with you again. My name is Kathleen Hellowa. Nice job. Thank you, Donna. And I've been privileged to serve the Hardiston Township Board of Education for the past 9 years, believe it or not. And one of my favorite things to do in any district, but especially here, because as I was telling Dr. Ryder, this district does it right. It's the goal-setting session for your following school year. Well, the school year that we're in right now, right? So summer is the ideal time for us to talk about what you want for your district in the coming year, and I'm very pleased to be able to facilitate this discussion, which is a discussion. I hope that Jean can hear me okay. Jean, have you got it? Okay, excellent, okay. If Jean has a comment, I may not be able to hear her because my hearing stinks, but you've got it, Mike? Okay, good, thank you. All right, so with that, why goal setting? Why do I get all excited about this? Well, my friends here in Hardiston know the answer to this. And what's particularly gratifying about doing this exercise this year is we have some really hard evidence that all of the hard work that you put in and all of the discussion that goes around this and all the prep going up to this presentation makes a difference for your students. For as long as I've been serving this board, you have been focused on your NJSLA scores and trying to elevate them. And most recently, when I was in here last summer, in June, one of the first goal that we drafted was to advance student achievement in mathematics and English language arts. There was a lot of talk about that and how that might look and why that was so important. And here we are, right, a few months after May, when you celebrated that Hardiston ranked #1 in Sussex County for your NJSLA scores. So that goal was not a magic wand, but it was certainly a big part, all the goals preceding it, to get you to where you are.
Can you
So
say that one more
kudos.
time? Which we were what?
So if you look on the slide, actually, and you'll get a copy of this, last year, one of the goals that you drafted was to elevate the NJSLA scores, right? That was not a unique goal, that's a focus. Elevating academic performance has been a focus here. And you were #1 in the county last
We were
year.
#1 in the county.
Yes, you were.
It's pretty good.
It's excellent. It's excellent. And you guys should brag about it, really.
That was the Summerlin score, that wasn't the state standard test scores.
That's an achievement. It really is.
No, I'm
So-
just saying, you're saying the test scores, we're saying that it was the Summerlin score.
Well, we're talking about student achievement, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big umbrella, and there's a lot of things that go into that. And like I said, nothing's a magic wand. There are so many endeavors and initiatives that all point towards the same direction, but you have some measurable results. to show yourselves and your public and your district that your kids are succeeding here. And they're not going to succeed with a board that doesn't focus on the right things. So that's why these conversations are so important. Goals move your district forward. And there are 4 types of goals that are important for board members to discuss and know about and speak fluently about. We've talked about these before. District goals, which are discussed together. You know, the superintendent takes the lead, gives us a draft of what the goals might look like, since he is the boots on the ground in the school district, right? We're, as board members, kind of that 30,000-foot view oversight sort of a thing, but Dr. Ryder is very attuned and fluent to what students need to move forward, what the staff needs, what safety needs are, what culture and climate needs are. So, in accordance with your strategic plan and any issues that might have come up in his annual evaluation and or issues that emerge, right? Anybody remember COVID, right? Things like that we don't exactly plan for. All of those things are the basis for the district goals. They are discussed and refined by the board and the superintendent. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. And the board will approve them. Once those goals are approved, it is the superintendent and his administrative and everyone on his team who work to achieve those goals. And the board's role in that is to make sure that you provide the resources that are needed to achieve those goals. Is it the board's goal to go into the classrooms and make sure that all of the lesson plans reflect the standards, right? No, absolutely not. But what we're doing here is basically telling your superintendent where you want him to focus his energies. And regularly during the school year, your superintendent will give you updates on progress towards district goals or obstacles that are standing in the way. I mean, you remember that word pivot that we used to use during the pandemic all the time. Well, sometimes you do need to pivot a little bit, and that's part of a larger conversation that happens throughout the school year. But in regular intervals, the board is updated on progress towards the district goals. You also use progress on the district goals as the first part of this annual superintendent evaluation. So these are pretty important initiatives. The other types of goals that you should understand that are out there are superintendent goals, which are set by the superintendent based on his own self-assessment for growth, right? They probably come out of the annual CSA evaluation or anywhere that he thinks, you know, I could use a little extra skill building in this area or knowledge building in this area, but those are set by him and they are not approved by the board. Those are, you know, just things that he works on, right? To put it in layman's terms. Merit goals are contractual, right? We'll talk about merit goals, but you can have, not all districts have them, but when you do, there is you can have up to 5, and 2 of them may be qualitative in measurement, and 3 of them must be quantitative in measurement. And there are certain steps that are discussed before those goals are approved that your superintendent will need to hit in order to achieve those merit goals. They are very clear. That's the beauty of merit goals. So once that discussion is had, the executive county superintendent must approve those goals. And once that happens, the board approves them as well. Again, the board does not actualize those goals, the board oversees them, but the superintendent is in charge of achieving them. Board goals are relevant only to the role of the board, governance, right? What the board does, which is policy, right? And oversight and things like that. Anything that's germane to the role of the Board of Education may go into board goals. The board discusses those, the board approves them, and the board evaluates itself on its progress towards board goals, which we typically do once a year here in Hardiston when we have this conversation. And Any of these really can be multi-year goals, and I know that your board goals have been that way. We'll talk about that a little later in the evening, because tonight we're going to be working on the 3 goals, the types of goals that are in blue. Unlike some of the endeavors that boards are charged with, when we're talking about district goals and board goals, everybody can participate in that discussion. No one is conflicted, and the conversations over the years have been pretty robust, and they always get us to a really good place. So that's what I'm expecting tonight, but I do appreciate all of the work that went into preparing this. We have some draft goals to begin with. Anybody have any questions on what I've just been talking about? Okay, stop me when you do.
I have one question.
Sure.
Do you work for other school districts? And
I
do
sure
this
do.
for several other ones?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes,
How
throughout
many-
the state.
How many about?
Oh, gosh.
Ballpark.
I really don't know. Right now I'm
50?
working with. Do you mean like throughout my career? Like, well over
A year
100?
and a year.
In a year, I would say, I don't have a number, but I would say like at least 14 right now,
Okay.
you know? And I'm very familiar with the county. I've worked here since 2016. And it's been my pleasure to work in Sussex County.
Thanks.
No, my pleasure. So and speaking of work that I've done, I helped to facilitate your strategic plan back in the day. And the strategic plan, which I mentioned on the previous slide, is your roadmap, right? We had community members participate in this. We had different stakeholder groups come out. And, together we had those conversations about where everybody would like to see the district go. And over the next 5 years. So from 2022 to 2027, these are the 4 goal areas that really are important for the board and the superintendent to keep in mind. These goal areas should underlie your district goals in some way. And I know all of you have seen a copy of this. You're probably very familiar with it. It is on your website. So I didn't go into the details of it, but your 4 goal areas are right here. We have individual students and accountability for their learning, community involvement and outreach, parental involvement and investment in the district, and access and equity in education. So those are your goal areas for the overarching 5-year strategic plan. But how do you break that down annually? That's what we're doing tonight. We're working on district goals, just like we do every year. And it's always been helpful to just kind of take a little look back on what last year's district goals were like before we go into this coming year. So here are the goals that we agreed on last year. Advancing student achievement in mathematics and English language arts, as I mentioned before, to improve student attendance and reduce chronic absenteeism by partnering with parents, elevating student interest and participation in their education. And goal number 3 was to improve staff collaboration, camaraderie, and cooperation, to optimize your school district culture and climate, and to aid in staff retention and encourage professional advancement. So Dr. Ryder, would you mind, not to put you on the spot, but you knew I'd do this, talk to me a little bit about how those goals worked out for last year.
I think the board and everybody agrees that for the most part, most of this was achieved in some fashion. I don't think any goal is ever 100%. There's always room for growth. Going even back to our #1 ranking for our Hardison Elementary School, right? That's great, but there's tons of growth to do in terms of NJSLA achievements in language arts and math. And chronic absenteeism is something that we have to keep on every year in order to hold kids and parents accountable to get students to come to school where good things happen. So, yeah, we did a good job, but it's like once that goal is completed, it's not done. It's never done.
Yeah.
None of these goals are ever finished. They're never completed. You can have these same goals every year, and every year it'll be a challenge to complete them with satisfaction. Sure. It will be. But I can say there is a mountain of evidence supplied by the board and subsequently used in my evaluation that shows that lots and lots of good energy and effort and time was spent into all of these goals. And there's a lot of evidence that shows that lots of progress was made.
All right.
So I'm very, very, very pleased with the outcome of last year.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Any thoughts from the board? All right. Okay, so let's kind of hop into things. So, let's talk about school year 25-26. And we'll do our draft goal areas first. I have more information on paper than what is on the slide. But I asked Mike, and I know he's been in communication, especially with you, Donna, and the board, about what these goals might look like for next year, so that we have something to go on as we start this conversation. And we came up with you all came up with 4 goal areas. And Mike, as I pass these out, would you mind talking to the board and those who are listening with us about these goals, why you propose them, and why you think they're...
Sure. And last night when I sent out what you're passing out, I also copied the whole board on that, so hopefully they were able to take a look at it. This is a common practice too, I take any information from the Board of Education. So this year, Donna either did it on her own or she took information from other board members and really compiled a really good list, a detailed list of ideas, right? Sent it to me to put into something. I also met with my administrative team, and we did the same thing about where we reviewed last year, where we thought our strengths and weaknesses were, where we can do better, and came up with ideas. And then also, like I do every year, I looked at my CSA evaluation and said, okay, great, here were the positives, and here were some critiques, where I think there's some valid comments made that can really spark some improvement if we put them in a focus goal area. So and then I do a final look at the strategic plan and saying, does this jive with everything that we've talked about where we want to go for 5 years? And they really do. They really do. So I think I'm almost positive all of the ideas that came forth from the Board of Education were incorporated, not in these words, but in the more thorough, either in the district goal or actually in the merit goal too. Some more of the fine-tuning ideas. Some of that came forward, not in district, but in the merit goals too, which we can do later on if you want.
Oh, we will definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. But yeah, everything is in there somewhere, and I just try to group similar ideas into categories that fit the different places. Yeah.
I gotcha. So what we're looking at, and it would just be a little bit, in fact, a lot too verbose to put it projecting on the screen here. So what you're looking at in your handout are the proposed goals, which are pretty much the same language up there as far as the goal statement. But as this board knows, a goal statement should be followed by objectives as well, and that's what Dr. Ryder has done here. So under each goal statement on your handout are different objectives, 4 or 5 different objectives that Dr. Ryder intends to use to achieve the goal, just so that the board can have an idea of how this might be actualized over the course of a school year. So when we talk about academic excellence, I don't know if you'd like to speak to any of those objectives as we start to dig into that one. Speaking of goals, what our goal here for tonight's discussion is to come up with language that the board can formally approve at its next meeting as a set of district goals.
Kathy, sorry.
Sure.
How many goals can we have?
You had 3 last year, there's 4 here.
How many can we have?
Well, I'm going to give you a crazy answer, but it's 100% accurate. If you're using the NJSBA CSA evaluation annually, there is a limit of 5 goals. If you go over that, the system cannot process, right? You're going to have to evaluate goal number 6 some other way. But I will tell you that 6 goals is arduous.
No, I don't,
Yeah.
this is great. I did review this, what Mr. Ryder did send out. Donna did articulate and send out a good comprehensive list. And within it, these do cover it. There's one thing, Mike, and I would ask the board to consider too, in facilities and finance over the last year that has been put on there, there's been a lot of conversation, and we talked about the concept of putting a goal together about overviewing our facilities and developing a long-range facility plan and discussing what things we could do to upgrade these facilities and how we achieve that. And that was something that has come up a few times in there, and I think that the only thing I would suggest, like, these are all great. I mean, this is all focused on staff, students, you know, community partnerships. The one missing piece of the puzzle, I think, is the actual inner buildings. And the only thing I would ask the board to consider is possibly including a fifth one that actually looks at revising our long-range facility plan, how we upgrade that, and how we do that. I know, you know, when we were put there, Tony and Don, you're like, you know, we're there in facilities, it hasn't come up. And I think like that next target of how we, because there are great improvements, which has been said, but there's still a lot of work to get done. And that was part of it, of doing like, you know, an architect and a firm and getting people back on the record so we can assist us with doing that long-range plan, which has kind of gone to the wayside over the last year and a half. So I would just ask the board what their thoughts are on that, like to include that on
I
there.
think it's a great idea. I don't have any objections to it.
No, I think Sue is working on RFQs for architects and special inspector and MEP engineers. The issue is we have to come up with a budget from them just to maintain what's broken now. So the long-term plan is just to see how much we have to go out for referendum, just to fix what's broken now.
And I think that's, to that point, Tony, that's where if we made it a goal, we would be able to articulate and comprehend all these things. It sounds like it's already started by doing, like, you know, going into the process of trying to find an engineer and architect and doing that, and then when they present something back to us, how do we do it? Because I know we're gonna have to go through the process of, you know, looking at proposals and hiring one and doing that whole thing again, which takes time and it makes a commitment of the district to do so. Doesn't mean that we're figuring out how we get to the money yet, but I think it's a year. The concept would be, how do we get to this point? You know what I mean? What's the magic number that we need to fix this stuff, and then what's the priority of fixing stuff so it doesn't, you know, fall apart?
Yeah.
It's also very important that the public know.
Yeah,
that
well,
we're
first we
doing
have to see
this.
what's broke and how much it should
Yeah,
cost.
fine.
And then we have to find out how to do the
What the process
referendum
is.
process to pay for it, and then tell everybody, okay, this is broke, it's $3 million and we need to go for referendum. Or this is broke and it costs $1 million now and $2 million in 5 years, and this is how we're gonna pay for it. So it's a big comprehensive program. It's to go,
But it
right
should
now,
be
our
a
goal
goal.
is just to stop the water from leaking on her desk.
I guess the goal is not, I guess my thoughts of like a draft goal would not be to, I'm not saying we're finding out everything that's wrong and fixing everything this year and this, you know, in school year 25, 26. It's just, we haven't done a long-range facility plan in a few years. We've done some major improvements in facilities in the last couple of years. See where we're at, see what the baseline is, and then let this board, future boards, take the reins on how we actually achieve that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you go to referendum? Do we do broad grants? Do we do these types of things? But we need to know what we're working with. And I think the Facilities and Finance Committee has started that process, but by making it a goal, then it becomes something that the entire board becomes knowledgeable of and can ask questions and do all this, because it's ultimately probably going to come to a decision of the entire board of how we get to the funding piece, right? So I just thought, it was just something that we talked about in facilities like 3 or 4
I think
times.
Sue is working on that to get things together.
Do we
What
go
is the-
around the table
anybody
and
else?
ask
I
her?
think we're currently doing it. It's just that now we're gonna make it a goal.
And then
Right? We're
which
putting it
makes-
on paper that now
Yeah,
it's a goal. Right?
which
We're
makes it-
currently doing it throughout the years, but we're not really having it on paper.
Yeah, well, we'll make it a goal that ensures that we follow through.
Look at it a little bit more, we pay attention to it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And what I appreciate about it being a potential goal is Mike provides updates throughout the year. So we'll, right, 2 or 3 times a year, so we'll ensure that that stays on our radar the whole time. And Sue, I'm curious, when is the last, trying not to, here, DJ? When was the last time we did a formal long-range facilities plan? Did that expire?
It's going to be expiring this coming year.
Okay, so this is timely in that sense as well. Okay, thank you. I'll stop talking so we don't have to hear this.
I mean, Mike, what are your thoughts? Don said go around.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I had finished this, and I sent it out, and I said to myself, there needs to be a finance thing on here too, because of all that, but I figured, I don't know, I figured this would come up and we'll hammer it out, and either it's a goal or it won't be a goal, but we'll do it anyway. I figured one way or the other, it has to be done, so I think it's great.
Well, interestingly enough, that's not part of your strategic plan, so I'm thinking, like, as you were going through, you're trying to hit all those, but that's not one of them. One of the other things that I like about having, and not that it's my goal, it's your goal, right? But having it as a goal also shows accountability to your stakeholders, your taxpayers. They know that this is just not going over your head and you're not, not addressing this, that this is a focus point for this year. So that's another reason to like a goal like that. And I'm wondering, is there anybody who has differing thoughts on adding I imagine we'd be adding a fifth goal to address the long-range facility plan and what we've been talking about. Anybody who's not on board with that? All right, that's good. So hold that thought. Let's kind of go through these methodically because we may be further along than we think we are. As far as our first goal, which targets academics, right? Academic excellence. You have on your paper what Dr. Ryder has proposed with the supporting objectives. Are there thoughts on this goal? Personally, I think it's well written, and I think it's pretty clear, but again, it's not my district, it's not my board, it doesn't really matter what I think, it matters what you think. So what are our thoughts here?
I'd like to give a little background on it too. The first bullet is just a summary statement. But the second and third bullet came from the administrative team about using data analysis, peer observations, some instructional coaching, and improved practice. We started thinking of things that maybe aren't done enough now that we can add in there and really make a focused effort, especially with the peer observation. That means teachers observing teachers and really having a better structure and structured approach so that people get to see teachers who do something very, very well, right? And that goes with the third bullet, which is leveraging teacher strengths, identifying what teachers excel at and share with colleagues for collective growth. We know what teachers are great at because we observe them, we evaluate them, we remark it on their evaluations. But the next part is to expand on that and work with them so that others can see it, not just us, right? And then the last two bullets here really came from Donna's contribution with the board as far as expanding enrichment opportunities, for all level learners, especially the upper tier, as far as an achievement, and implementing a future student initiative to help 5th through 8th graders see successful pathways and future options, if you want to remark on that idea.
Yeah, the idea comes from having students come in to 5th grade and not being afraid of the building, afraid of the new challenges, but having older students guide them and taking them through like the steps of mentoring them in a way, so they are not going to different directions, but they know what they can actually achieve in the future, and this is where you could be if you do this, and
remember that the graduation awards.
right, like for example, the graduation awards are given, and a lot of students don't know how these students got these awards. So some students sit there and, I went to the graduation myself few of the years, and you feel sad that they are not actually receiving anything. If they knew, let's say, if they follow this particular club, or if they do certain things after school, those are the things they're going to make them recognize, and they will actually be able to achieve those goals and be better and have a path instead of just getting in trouble, for example. So
No, it
that
makes
was the
perfect sense.
idea behind it, just to give everyone an opportunity where you want to be in 3 years.
Yeah, and honestly, Donna, as I'm listening to you talk, I'm remembering a lot of similar conversations from the strategic planning sessions. And if you go back to those strategic planning documents, you'll see them right there. In fact, you probably participated in them too. So I think that housing them within a district goal is a beautiful thing.
Right. And
Donna, do we have a big brother, big sister kind of program?
yes, we do.
Kids on kids?
Yes, we do.
Well, that's there's an actual a formal Big Brothers Big
I know
Sisters,
that
but they go to
there is.
Wallkill Valley.
Yeah.
So, but does that happen
within
here?
the school
No.
district? this child
No, no.
connected to that child?
No, I mean, on some occasions, fifth graders will come over here for a tour and a walkthrough, and our eighth grade leaders will lead them through and answer questions for them and so forth, but not on a daily structured basis. That's kind of what we're talking about here,
Yeah,
Nikki.
the thought was, when they get here, what do they do next?
How are they going to make the most of their time here?
Exactly.
How can they be, to be corny, like the best version of themselves,
Absolutely.
right?
And,
You know,
and that
while they're here.
includes, we did, this year, we had a career day, so that was also bringing the children around different tables and experiencing real people with real careers and explaining to students what they do, and just having them think about where they want to go when they grow up, essentially, and at that stage or age.
That's great. That's great. I want to, Jean, you okay over there? Any thoughts or? Okay. All right. Thumbs up from Jean. Thank you very much. Other thoughts on this particular goal?
I think it's great, it's leveraging the resources that we have and expanding opportunities, teachers working with teachers and students, with the concept of a student initiative, like, peer-to-peer relationships and students helping students achieve as well. I think it's using the resources and the opportunities that we have here to expand academic excellence.
Yeah. The one comment I wanted to make, I don't see any type of percentage or any type of measurable for mathematics or language arts, certain percentage that we're looking to implement.
The problem with that, I do have it in the merit goal section, and the reason why it's in the merit goal and not the district goal is because we don't know those numbers by it's time to do the evaluation at the end of the year. If we're using the NJSLA as a metric, those numbers don't come out until the summer, so we wouldn't be able to evaluate that number until after the fact.
And I think that's why, that's hitting the nail on the head, that's why you rarely see, speaking of working with a, putting a number in a district goal is very, very rare. I've never facilitated one where we've put a number in any school district that I've worked in, and I think it speaks to exactly what you're saying. It is what it is.
I'm past ones with a similar goal, like you've used our in-house assessments to garner growth and showing that as well too, which you have that data. I know you've included that in your quarterly responses too, so we could see, where they were at the beginning of the year as a benchmark, how much growth they have. So it's not the standardized state assessment, but it is our in-house assessment, STARS, right? Is that where you're going to
STAR 360 and other assessments, and we can even, during maybe the halfway point in the school year, when I give one of the updates, we can even give a presentation on that, which I believe we've done in the committee, but it'd be great to do it in public session.
To the whole board as well.
Right, and the community.
And the community.
I know it goes in because those are all examples, they're not identified as what exactly you're going to do to expand enrichment opportunities and such too. But you already have some of these things if you leverage them more. Like you have a homework club, you have tutoring opportunities before school, after school that we do. So if you just provide us more data of how many are using it, who's going, what were their assessment scores before, what were their assessment scores after, we would be able to garner and see how much growth there was from some of these enrichment programs that we currently have in place and how are we making them better, I think, too. So, I know that's going to be in the action plan, right? So that's not what this is, but look forward to seeing what you're going to come up with.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, everybody. We've got our first goal. Second goal addresses attendance and engagement. So, Mike, to speak to that, if you don't mind.
Sure, it's very similar to last year's goal as well. 2 years ago, we were at over 17% chronically absent. That's 2 years ago. Then last year, it went down to 11.3, and then for this past year, I don't know, I'm getting my years confused. 3 years ago, it was 17 point something, then it was 11 point something, and then this past school year, it was 8.4. So thankfully, we're back into the single digits, right? I want to go lower. I want to go lower than that. In my merit goals, I say 5.9, or lower. I'm getting greedy with it, but why not? Best things happen when students are here, so we have to go for that as hard as we can. And so some of the stuff is the same, but the new things that the administrative team were talking about was using more incentives and recognition programs, Teacher of the Month, student shout-outs, encouraging consistent attendance, maybe getting students involved more with, you know, I don't know, what great instruction looks like, getting them to pay attention to the good things that are happening in the classroom. Also encouraging local businesses and sponsorships to support attendance initiatives, you know, meaning, you know, students have great attendance on a monthly basis, you know, a local business is sponsoring some sort of award, you know, for those students who are hitting those numbers. You know, so yeah, it's great to be here, but that's not good enough for a 10-year-old. They want something. What do I get? So
Have you figured out in your head with the administrators what has worked?
yeah, absolutely. Two things. The two-pronged approach from last year, it does work. It just has to be done consistently with the right people. One is following up on letters, phone calls, and meetings with parents. And, you know, they're not easy meetings. They're not easy meetings. People get very defensive when you tell them that their child isn't here enough, right? So you have to have the meeting with some type of empathy and sensitivity, but still the bottom line is, yes, don't bring your student here, you know, your child here when he's very sick, but the sniffles don't count. You know, it's okay to send him here with the sniffles, but not with the flu. You know what I mean? Like, and to have those real conversations, it matters, right? And then, so that's the one. And then the other side, on the student side, is making school as awesome as possible. Meaning, yeah, we work hard here, but we also have a good time doing it. And that's been my mantra ever since I was a social studies teacher in Augsburg. We were talking about it before, and that's what I used to tell my students all the time. We're going to work hard here, we're going to do a lot of things, but we're going to have a good time doing it. Here's what it's going to look like. Let's go. So that's what every day should be in every classroom for a student.
That's pretty. Thank you.
Do we know what the percentage was of absenteeism before COVID?
It was low. It was, I mean, I remember when I first got here in 2016, I think there needed to be, I'm almost positive there was some sort of action plan because it was in the double digits, but then we got it down to, I think, 6%. I think it was somewhere around there, 6 or 7.
It was 6.
Yeah.
All right, so
And then COVID, I mean,
COVID
it just,
hurt.
it
COVID
blew it
hurt.
up. I mean, not just here, obviously,
But
but
we're getting it back.
we are, yeah. And then once it becomes habit, sorry, it's like, once you get it down there, you know what I mean, then hopefully, over the years, that becomes normal, you know?
Right, they're gonna forget, you know,
Yeah.
those guys kind of weed it out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
We're not there yet,
they
but
get beat up.
it's still having a lot of conversations throughout the entire year. But, so we're not at the normal yet, but that's the goal.
I know we talked about this going back to academics, if I can. Is there a way to figure out the type of people or the students we're sending to the high school? Remember we kind of discussed that, like how do we find out, hey, we're sending great people there, and then they get there and they're not doing that well?
I don't, honestly, I
Like
don't.
we're sending an 18 all-star.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't know the data from the hardest individuals once they get to the high school. You know, I can take the whole number data from the high school, how many, you know, what's their graduation rate, what's their,
Well,
you
could
know.
we even, I'm just gonna go real quick off the top of my head, like say we sent 400 kids, talking about every elementary school, with 3.5 grade point averages, and then only 200 graduated with 3.5 grade point average out of high school. Do you know what I mean? That's just a real quick off the top of my head, if I had to do it real fast. You know, does that make sense at all?
Well, you're asking, I think you're asking how do our kids make out through their high school experience?
Yeah, so if we send them 400 with 3.5s, and then at the end of their years, that class, only 200 graduated with 2.5, is that?
Well, that, I mean, I don't know what that data is. That would take some more collaboration with the high schools, Walker Valley, Sussex Tech. And, you know, as long as they cooperate and and send information back, I can do that, but it's going to take, collaboration to make that happen.
All right, just next one. All right.
I mean, it's a good question, it's a great question, but I don't have that information.
Yeah, I know, I just was throwing it to the board too, for ideas or some things like that, because it seems to me like we do send some positive recruits there, and then I want to see how they finish up, right? Isn't that kind of where we want to see, hey, did these kids keep on trucking the way we were pushing them, you know?
Or, I mean, another way to tackle that is to establish more lasting relationships with the families that graduate here. So maybe not getting information from the high school if they don't want to, I'm not saying they don't want to cooperate, but if they don't, maybe we get that information from families.
But wouldn't that just be like, to me, it looks like is that public knowledge of saying how many of your students graduate, like just finding out what their
I wouldn't know as far
GPA
as...
is? Like if I asked you here, our 8th grade class, how many kids?
Yeah, but
have
you're asking for the
3.5?
breakdown. You're asking for the breakdown of the hardest of the student. Once they get to Walk Hill, they're Walk Hill students.
I know, but is that public knowledge, Joe? Is that public knowledge? We can say how many
They
kids?
have it, but I think what Mike is saying is that we don't have it because they don't send it to us.
No, they have it.
Yeah, they have it.
And then is it that difficult to ask for it? Like it's a simple, to me, that's a simple request.
Becomes a challenge because once they leave us and graduate here, they're not our students anymore. So then they're technically the rights, they're individual, right? Like, you know, Nick graduated here and then Nick's GPA was, I'll say lower, 2.3, right? And then like went there and was a rock star and got 3.8. They won't be able to tell Mike Nick has a GPA of 3.8. But working in partnership, they might be able to give you a collective and just say like, you know what I mean, 95% of Hardiston students, like, you know, had a
Well, don't they do that with the SAT? Like
Yeah,
the
but
average
like-
SATs,
Yeah, but
12,
they-
50, yeah, you know, at these
I
schools.
guess what I'm saying is the challenge is it's not just our students, right? So it's like, it's.
No, I understand the challenges up there, I get it.
Yeah, so it's like, so I think like, that's a question for, and it's, the challenge is Mike doesn't run Walk Hill, right? So he's gotta have to get that information from that super and those people and then.
No, I was hoping it was just a little easier now, you know, because of the
So if you don't
SAT.
mind my kind of, as I'm listening to this, I think, like, you make an excellent point. Like, once they get to Walk Hill, they're Walk Hill students. And a student's high school years are very, very formative and different from their experience in elementary and middle, right? I mean, I can say that for my kids. I'm sure you can say that for your kids, maybe even for yourselves. I know I can say that for myself. I think that's a universal experience. But I think I'm just putting it out there, I think what the board may be more, what may be more productive for the board to begin to explore is how prepared your kids are for the 9th grade. How do they do in the 9th grade in that transitional year? Because when we're talking about junior year, senior year, that's a different, you know, there's just so many things that this board cannot influence, right? I mean, you can get them prepared, you can get them, you know, that's your goal here, being at this table, getting them prepared for the next step in life. But once they leave the nest and they're out of the nest for 4 years, then there are just so many other factors that you cannot influence. So just some food for thought.
It's not a bad idea, Eddie. I think it's good if we can actually have that as a benchmark of know of what we're doing in the middle schools, really preparing them. And to your point, Kathy, I get it. Like instead of looking at how they did as a senior year, then you're really like meshing, but their freshman year, were they successful? So if we can get that info and just use that to see it, then Mike and the team here could tailor things. It's just like, hopefully they'll partner with us to do that.
Well, it's kind of holding everybody accountable too. Like we're sending you some pretty good students, and we want to know how they're doing at the end.
Ed, and I like where you're going with that, and my thought kind of drifts more to the third one. The K-12 districts have a natural advantage. I know Sparta, Nitt, Vernon might do this. You know, when they graduate Sparta High School, they'll take a bus ride back to their the elementary and middle schools that they go back to see their teachers, and it's kind of like a walkthrough for the seniors that they go back to the elementary and middle schools. Not necessarily that our students need to do that, but I think it really would like have a stronger community sense to take what you're saying and maybe highlight our Hardiston graduates who graduate from Walk Hill or Pope John or Sussex Tech and recognize them here. It's a pretty small town, and like what Donna was saying before about career connections and path forward and inspiring students in middle school to say, oh, I remember, you know, so-and-so their younger brother or sister plays on my baseball team. Look at them; they're going to NJIT and majoring in architecture. That it's a glue for some middle school students to see what potential success might look like 3 or 4 years later, and it builds that sense of community that I know we're looking to do too. So, but I like where you're going with this connection at the high school thing.
It'd be cool if you did that, like, I know we don't have multiple schools here, but in their 8th grade, send them down there in their caps and gowns.
Yeah, we could do that.
And
We
like,
could do that.
Okay.
I mean, they have the 4th grade, like, they have the 4th grade walkout, clap out, which is always a big hit and stuff too, and then that's like, they leave. So 8th grade before graduation, send them back, let them walk.
Enjoy the air conditioning. Why didn't we have this when we were here?
Mike, what are your thoughts on this? Is this something that you could roll into goal number 3, or
Yeah, I'm writing
as an
notes down.
objective? Okay.
Yeah, I'm writing notes down, and I think, yeah, I love them. Somewhere, just give me a little time, and I can weave these into the appropriate place.
Sure.
And just make, yeah, yes.
Can we move on to 3?
All right, beautiful.
Are we on
Yeah.
3 now?
So I think yeah, we've got 1, we've got 2. Yeah, let's do, unless there's any dissenting thoughts. Jean, what are you thinking? Thumbs up, meds and meds, thumbs down?
I like the idea. I like the idea of continuity, following the kids, writing dishes, and I like that thought.
Terrific, thank you. Okay, great.
Yeah, great idea.
All right, so we're kind of halfway there for goal number 3. Mike, do you want to talk to goal number 3?
Thank you, Mike.
Let's see here. Yeah, goal number 3, family and community partnership. All right. Right. So this actually, a lot of ideas came from both administration and Donna's collaboration with the board. And it easily goes back to strategic planning, which had a community partnership in there. So Hardison will strengthen families and community engagement by providing meaningful opportunities to connect, learn, and partner with the district, including seasonal wellness workshops, monthly community dialogues, civic education programs, collaborations with local businesses and organizations. Some of the ideas that administration came up with, we already have a proposal that came from my administrators to me about launching a family wellness workshop series throughout the year. Some examples might be easing separation anxiety in the fall, right? Like real wellness things to help what parents might be going through. And then the winter resilience and the spring growth. More ideas have to come, but really extending a partnership out there saying, what are we struggling with? What can we, not that we have all the answers, but conversations help. I always say nothing can't be cured. Everything can improve with conversation, right? So this is an opportunity to do that. And also another administrative idea was to collaborate with local businesses. I think I said this before, for school promotion and resources. Different ideas from the board was hosting monthly community dialogues with parents, staff, and students. That's one idea that I put in my merit goals, actually, that we can talk about later on, which was for the superintendent, doesn't have to be just the superintendent, but the superintendent hosting or creating a structured environment where the community knows I'm here this day, or I'm available to talk this day. Not just that day, of course, but at least they know on that date and they can plan for it, right? And have that happening every month. Also different ideas that came from the board were inviting realtors for tours to showcase district facilities and programs, and creating an online platform for outside donations to fund educational initiatives.
Can I have a, do you have some?
Oh, no, I just think that they're great ideas. They're all great ideas.
I think they're all very, can I offer a couple, ideas for a couple more? Like, I've talked about this, the communicative blasts are very good, of giving information. I thought I said this to you once, Mike, I think a couple times about showcasing, what our teachers are doing, or when parent volunteers are in partnerships, if it's about building and growing the family and community partnerships, we already have them, and thanking them for doing it, right? So we had using, we did it here presentations at board meetings of of some of the great activities that we're doing and like that are here. Like a lot of these things for improving engagement or academic excellence. Like at the onset, like we had a great special education presentation, you know, showcasing, which are now got 3 cameras on us, are videotaped, you know what I mean? And it's out there in the community, so now it's like, let's showcase what we're actually doing in our district so our family and our communities know. One of the things I think when I see family and community partnerships, we already have a phenomenal partnership in our PTA. What they've done over the last 3-4 years has been great. When I see the words above it, like leveraging, so I think like leveraging that partnership that we have, you know what I mean, with the PTA, and really like thanking them for what they do, which is phenomenal. You know, like I think most of us here are PTA members, but we're not the leaders making the decisions and doing that stuff in there. But when they do good things, really like showcase it and put it out there, because you know when you feel appreciated, you work harder and you do more stuff.
Yeah,
And I
that's a
think
great idea.
those are like 2 things to really include, and that's a community partnership that we have.
Right, I think that's also a great idea to have maybe expanding our district website to include some of those additional links or additional activities that are taking place that we can expand. You know, like now we have the curriculum online, we have videotaping of this meeting online. We're doing a lot of, you know, communication and transparency, but we can actually include PTA, include other initiatives that we're doing on the website as well. But
I think it's a great
great
goal.
ideas, thank you.
Other thoughts around the table? Good, looks good. All right. Jean, looking good? You have a comment, okay. And suddenly I can't hear you, okay.
I'm sorry, I know I'm going backwards a little bit, but as I was listening to everyone talking, I like the idea that Gary had too about probably focusing a little bit more on having understand about, let's say, construction workers or different jobs that they can use with their hands, or just understanding that with AI coming, a lot of jobs that we have now might be obsolete, and to maybe take a different kind of look at getting kids excited, and I guess presenting things in a way that will make them excited. We'll just plant seeds for later on in their heads. That's my thought.
Oh, no, thank you for that. There's favorable reactions around the table to get kids excited about their future and to address AI issues head on, and knowing that the jobs that exist now may be obsolete in the future. We don't really know what those jobs are going to be looking like when our students advance towards, the job market. So thank you for that. And other thoughts? All right, we are cooking. Let's go to goal number 4, and then we'll work on goal number 5, based on our previous conversation. But we're doing great here. Goal number 4, positive school culture and staff collaboration. Mike, you're on.
Okay, this goal has been in some shape or form with us for a long time, because there's always things that we could do to make things better and better. And last year was a really, really strong push in this area. And one of the hallmarks of success, I think, even though there's lots of variables that go into this, but last year there was very, very high teacher retention. I think I'm almost positive we only lost one, and that was for a full-time job. And that's hard to compete with, except if we created our own full-time job, right? But so I think that was a huge win for us. Even though what I said remains true, there's a lot of variables that go into that. And some things are outside of our control, and some things that are in our control. For the things in our control, I want to make sure that we're doing our best to, there's like it's like having, the way I see it, it's like having a classroom full of students, right? So you're the teacher and you have a classroom full of students. You want your students to work hard. You want them to care about what they're doing. You want them to study. You want them to do all the things that you want them to do, right? But you also want them to be happy in your classroom, right? So that's what makes a really, really strong teacher, is to have that, not to, some teachers rule by fear. Remember those teachers where it's like, you better be on time, you gotta have your homework, you gotta do it's not warm and fuzzy, but you gotta make sure it's this. I know you're gonna do well, but oh my God, I'm terrified to be in that class. And other classes are just cool to be in. And you don't wanna let the teacher down because you don't wanna ruin it. You know what I mean? Because it's a good vibe in there and you wanna keep that rolling. So I think the same applies for a school district on an adult level, right? You want the teachers and you need the staff to do what they're supposed to be doing. We have math and language arts programs. We have programs in all the different subjects that require it to be done with fidelity. We spend lots of money on professional development that says, hey, let's try to do it in a consistent manner so that year by year our students, our kids are growing because we're all doing what we're supposed to be doing, in collaboration with each other. But at the same time, you want those teachers rocking and rolling. You want them skipping coming to work as best you can. I know, it's hard. So you want that. So every year is going to require different things to make that happen, right? You got to hold people accountable. You have to do that, which isn't the best part, but you can also make it cool in the process, right? So a lot of these ideas came from administration, which is supporting staff wellness through professional learning on best practices, those peer observations. It sometimes these goals kind of intertwine, right? Wellness workshops, encouraging peer observations, voluntary, not mandatory, to foster professional growth. Almost like that thing we were talking about with chronic absenteeism, where 6% used to be the normal. It's not the normal yet. So peer observations, that won't be the normal yet. So you don't want to make that mandatory. You want to make it ease into it, right? Ease into it until someday it becomes normal, not a big deal. And we all look at each other, and we all watch each other, and we all improve. That's the environment that we're in. And recognize and celebrate staff achievements through public acknowledgement and business sponsorship. So a lot of times we do things in-house that recognizes the awesome things that we do, and recognizes our teachers, but to do that more publicly, and you know what, the same incentives that we have for the students, where if their attendance is great, they get something, we can do the same thing for the adults in our buildings too. That's where I'm coming from for that.
Gotcha. All right, board, what do we think?
Yeah, Mike's right. Yeah, number one, elementary school, right? Summative score, which is not just absentee rates, not just test scores, it's other things, right? So overall, the fourth grader only knows that they're number one. Now they go into fifth grade, and they just expect probably that I'm going to be number one in the middle school. And they're going to try anything less than number one is going to be a disappointment. So they're probably motivated to continue those accolades that they were used to getting in the fourth grade. In the third graders, they're like, well, we're number one, so when they go into fourth grade, they're going to hopefully continue those habits and teaching methods that worked. And then as they progress through the middle school, maybe the middle school now, the expectation is we're going to be number one, and if we're not, we're going to try to be number one. So I think this past year was a turning point for us. And the board too. I mean, there's no mystery that there were a conflicted board, but once we became like the number one elementary school in the county, things turned around. And that was our goal, to be really good. So now we're really good. So let's continue to be really good in the elementary school, and let's continue that to the middle school. And then when they get to the high school, maybe the eighth grader who's been number one for 4, 5, 6 years expects to be number one when they get to Oak Hill Valley. I can't speak for the other towns, but at least the hardest kids should be so used to being number one that anything less, would motivate them to be there and engaged.
Thank you.
I think Tony brings up a great point in that I have an example that goes back to sports with this, right? You can have a great football team, right? They can win the championship, but you might not have a great program because you might have a great crop of kids that are awesome players, and they win the championship that year, but then the next year they're mediocre again. What you see across the state are teams out there, I'm going with the football program, that are great year after year after year. And you're like, how in the world are they great every year? There's kids that are graduating every year. How are these teams great? What makes them great? That's what school has to be, right? So there's the mindset that we are going to win every year, academically, socially, and all that. That's the goal.
Seeing a lot of nods around the table, so
Sounds good.
sounds like that resonates with everybody.
Go Hornets.
All right, it sounds like we've, all right. All right, so we've got our 4 goals. That's going to be pretty easy for me to put in the memo, right? That's all done. So now let's talk about goal number 5.
You gotta make one now.
Yes, we do,
Come on.
but we're good at
You gotta
that.
earn your money back.
Excuse me just a moment.
She gets paid.
If I may add to number 4, you know, maybe a gentle competition between the schools could be something that could work as well. Gentle competition.
Those kindergartners
How
get
about
so
brutal?
8th graders.
Brutal
Let's see
pay?
what happens. 6th graders, let's see what happens. All right, friends, so I'm not sure if the mic will pick me up. I will try to use my big voice. But let's talk. Oh, let's see. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about goal number 5, okay?
Call it facilities and finance.
Well,
And I
I'm
think
going to
they,
be calling it that from over here, okay? Mike, I might be using your microphone. Let me see if the keyboard wasn't working. Actually, nothing's working. Do I have to use a pen and paper?
We want our goals to get the system moving with the right technology.
Remember the yellow sticky pads I'd always bring in and the
Yeah.
easel?
Yeah, we've upgraded from the sticky.
I know, I think I'm so fancy, right?
we need to stick to that. HR paper.
All right. That's okay. I can read my own handwriting and I'll just keep reading it back to you until we get it right. So, and we're
Well,
on.
just got some work in there.
Progress.
Yay, all right. Look at that. Okay, friends. All right, now we're cooking. All right.
Good thing we have a tech guy.
Never leaves you.
Okay. All right. So let's start with draft language. Goal number 5. Shall we title it long-range facilities planning?
I just put facilities
Yeah,
and
just
finance
put
as
facilities.
broad.
Facilities and finance?
Yeah.
All right. Unfortunately, you have to watch me type. That's the bad part. And that's painful.
lot of pressure, too.
I used to be really good at this. I don't know what happened. But it's okay. It's okay.
Spelling, punctuation, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Multitasking,
Really
come on,
tough.
she can.
So,
While I'm talking, it's bad. It's bad.
So
So
you-
glad I'm amongst friends.
you have 3 components
Okay.
from my point of view.
Okay.
You have an asset maintenance plan, you have a capital improvement plan, and then you have a finance plan. And that's coming, you know, as
What was the first thing you said, Tom?
asset maintenance.
So
Capital
maintenance,
improvement.
improvement, and finance.
Yeah, first you
right?
have to find out what you have to fix, what you have now.
Right.
So
Then you have to decide later what things you want to add, like the LED sign, the playground, and all that kind of stuff. And then you have to figure out how to finance it. So those are the 3 components that I know of.
So the
And then you
first
can
2
do
are,
sub-
sorry, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, then you can do sub-categories of
I
that.
think the first 2 go in hand with the long-range facilities plan. There's a there's the maintenance and assets in that kind of component of the things that we have, as well
Yeah.
as a capital improvement plan is a component of that. I don't know what the
Well,
finance.
a capital improvement would be something that we would have to build or add or do something that's not
What about
maintenance.
fixing the roof?
To build the capital improvement fund, or you mean, or to like?
Yeah, well, you're thinking the roof the roof would be a capital improvement
Right.
legally.
It's like, I
But
think
the LED sign is a change from an analog manual sign to a LED sign. That would be like a capital improvement.
Right.
But maintenance is what you already have that has to be fixed, like the lentils and the roof. That's a maintenance plan.
I
The
think,
boiler, all that stuff.
so it goes hand in hand. I think what I'm trying, same thing, same vein. Where we're at, you know what I mean, which is long-range facility plan, you know what I mean, within that. And then after we get there, the capital improvement plan, what are you fixing?
Well, the capital is not fixed. Capital is something that you never had before. Like the air conditioning, I would say is a capital improvement,
Right,
because we
so
never
that's-
had it.
That's why you said, well, you said a roof was capital, I call maintenance. That's like, so we have the roofs are maintenance, like the
Right.
chillers are maintenance, like the things that we talk about in a facility that are just
Yeah.
falling apart.
So let's find out the things we have now that are broke, how to fix it.
Correct.
And then find out,
Yeah.
how do we get an LED sign, how do we get the radios, how do we get the playground, which, we have that already. That would be something new that we had, that we didn't have before. The air conditioning would be new, something we wish we had, now we have it. But the lentils is maintenance.
It's almost like how, what, how, when, and how much.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and
But it's like-
the how is later, how do
Right.
we get it?
How we, yeah.
How does
What we
Sue
need to
get us the
fix,
money?
how we gonna get there, when we're gonna do it, and how much it's gonna cost, or somewhere in between.
Yeah.
So I know, that's why I wanted, glad facilities there, added finance, as we all know, last year's budget process was a little eye-opening, and, utilizing certain funds that we do not have available anymore. And I know Sue was like kind of doing her due diligence of keeping track of where we are. And one of the, I guess the bullets underneath that would be like, consistent and frequent monitoring of some of these lines that you were talking about with us to see if we're below target, on target. So essentially, when I heard that through the budget process last year, in my mind is that like, we can't wait till January to start like these budget conversations. We need to start in conference and committee of where we're at, what we're looking like in there. So when we don't come in January, February, and we're like, when we already know we're in a hole a little bit, and when I say a little bit, like $200,000 because we used the shift, how are we going to, what are we doing? And I feel like that should be, when I say goals, that we did our due diligence throughout the course of the year prior to the onset of the budget process, which formally starts in the end of January, first meeting. Like where are we at? So I know we get list of transfers, things like that. So and then again, part of that is quarterly updates. So we'll get one in November, 3 months before, because Mike usually does them, four times a year. So I just thought, it's not just facilities, right? The concept of long-range plan, it's the finance component that we really need to, we all need to be cognizant of, because last year's budget left us not in a pretty spot. And, and like we need to realize that of what we're doing and where we're at, so we're not blindsiding anybody. So I thought, like, I don't know how you put that in a bullet, but like a bullet point, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
But like,
Yeah.
it's really, it's like, I don't know if it's there, it's more of like, recognizing and, analyzing current budget trends, you know what I mean? Like to see shortfalls on targets, so when these things are, because that's where your file transfers come in. And I know you started to do that and looking at it and like really hardcore last year, went into it February, March. So when the facilities piece, I think of that. The finance piece, I think of that. The facilities piece is just essentially creating a long-range plan and doing what Donna just said of like who, what, where, when, how we're
Yeah, like
whatever you just
what
said.
do we need to fix, how we're gonna do it, and when, and then how much it is gonna cost, and how we're gonna actually.
And I think part of that, like another point would be like with you exploring like other grants availabilities that like can help us assist us in this process, which, but you do already, but like now if it's a goal, it's going to be done consistently. And like, we're saying we're hearing back from the rural grant, but there's got to be other ones available out there. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here writing grants for some of these other things to improve some of these. Once we know what can be fixed, do we have the money to fix it? And do we have explored partnerships and grants to help offset some of these
I
costs?
think we ought to address the corporate area as well in this goal.
The like community partnerships and doing
Community
outreach and
partnerships.
things. Yeah, definitely.
with local corporations who might be interested in sponsoring something.
Right, and we have that already in a different goal, we're setting up like a foundation.
Yeah,
and people
but
donating.
This is specific to the money.
Yeah,
But that
rather
could
than
be
trying to focus on, let's get money, first let's find out what we need to fix.
Well,
Because the
yeah.
amount of money may not be a donation of $50,000, it may be a $5 million referendum, right? So that's a totally different way of ask, right? So that, you have to go to Trenton for money.
I understand what you're saying, but it's like, well, with that said, Tony, right, if we know that this is a problem, we know that this grant exists to do this, like we were gonna do with the chillers because of like the electric upgrades, but then it got shot down because like, right?
JCP and
Yep.
else that had some kind of restriction on.
So we know that, like,
electrical. But we need to know what's broken that needs to be fixed, right? Both the roof and the chillers and whatever. So we need to know what it costs. And then we need to know where to go ask for grant money. And then whichever left over between the cost and grant money, then we have to.
Don, I'm sorry, not less than Don. So do you have anything else that you think would be a component of that as the, you know, the BA?
It's pretty much it with when we did the budget this year, I was incorporating everything that we've used without trying to use the grant money. So pretty much what we've had has worked out so far.
Okay.
Until we learn if we get the grant or not.
Right,
So
right.
I'm keeping track of everything that's being spent right now, just ordering what we have.
Great example of what just happened, the title grants, right? Federal title grants, they usually come out, I think they're usually released July 1st, the application comes out, and then usually we would usually approve it at the August meeting, because we'd have July to work on the application. Well, the money wasn't being released, right? So the application was not open. So we had, in the formulation of our budget, we have a lot of our intervention programs, professional development, some supplies, all tied in with those grants. And we were looking at it going, well, if this grant doesn't come through, we're not gonna be able to do it. It's gonna affect kids. Well, not luckily, but it did come through, and there's potentially a couple more dollars in there, which will be able to cover all of our expenses and do some things, but we're at a point right now where it's kind of tough to rely on those grants until we know if it's stable or not from year to year.
So what's indicating now, about 750,000 in capital improvement? Do we have that much?
In capital, yes, but we have to put back, they're gonna tell me what to put back because of, we didn't use it for the boilers.
Yep.
So the money has to go back in, so it's about 30-something that's gonna go back in.
Yeah.
Got a cool mill.
Yeah, so we have some money to pay for things.
Okay, so I took a stab at the language for that goal, forget the ones in parentheses that might wind up being part of the objectives. But again, very, very broadly, determine the district's pressing and future needs in facilities maintenance, identify needs for improvements to our technology, campus, and learning spaces, and explore methods for funding those needs.
I think that's great, and then underneath it in the bullet points would be some of the things like what, I don't know, what Tony just said, like create a finance plan, a capital improvement plan, develop a long-range plan, and then
It's almost like using like a project management tools on how you're actually going to go through all the steps of implementing that particular idea
I mean, you can,
from the beginning to the end.
Okay, so tell me what you want those bullet points to say.
It's initial,
initiate like a process to formalize a long-range facility plan. Done. They're like, so like, that's what I was like, so that's, it already has initiated and complete.
Work towards.
Which has to be a goal, because we just found it expires this year anyway, right?
Or maybe
identify
got it.
the needs that we have, like.
That would be like in there too, but like, but I can say that too, is like create like administration and supervisor of the building grounds can already do that ahead of time. Present a current list of maintenance concerns and by our administration staff, you know what I mean? That is not a long-range plan, but like, that would be that too. That's a needs assessment. So create a needs assessment for our facilities, right?
Okay. Put that first, create a needs assessment. Well, isn't that determined, it's just blah, 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 you know, I think, okay. Gotcha. I think that's a little redundant from the goal line. Do we need objectives here just now, or is that something that?
I don't mind if
kinda-
you, like, Mike, you have to
Yeah,
create an
I'm
action
thinking
plan
Mike-
for it and do it, but we have the
Yeah.
large, the thing on the top. Sorry.
Yeah,
just-
I think as you're refining the objectives for the other goals, maybe coming up and working with Sue on what these
Yeah.
objectives could be like,
And
does
then
that
turn it
sound
over.
fair?
Yeah.
Make sure we're okay with it.
All right, very
That's a
good.
good idea.
All right.
Yeah, we
All
don't
right.
have to get into that in details of it.
Very good, thank you. All right, so nice work, guys, we have 5 district goals. Beautiful. Go back to slideshow mode. All right. And with slideshow mode, we go into our other slides. We wanted to talk about merit goals tonight as well. So merit goals,
Is that before board goals? Is board goals after?
board goals I do at the end,
Okay.
because, you know, these 2 sets of goals are the goals that Mike will be working towards. And the board needs to understand, you know, what these goals potentially should be. They need to contribute to what the goals should say, and ultimately need to provide the resources to achieve these goals. So that's why I lumped the merit goals in with the district goals.
Thank you.
Now, you're welcome. Now, anyone who is conflicted cannot participate in this portion of the conversation, I believe. But because this relates directly to Mike's compensation, right? This is non-pensionable income that he will be receiving upon achieving these goals. And Mike, thank you very much for laying this out so clearly in this handout for the board, so we can discuss what these goals mean and what evidence the board needs to be aware of and what the rubric is. So it's all here on, you know, black and white in front of the board, but if you don't mind speaking to what's, you know, and we can take them goal by goal if you like, whatever works best.
I'm going to do 3, 4, and 5 first, only because they are the same as last year.
Okay.
They're the 3 quantitative goals, and I think those are always good ones to have, right? So 3 and 4 have to do with improvements on NJSLA, math, and language arts. And the idea is pretty simple, straightforward. Well, it's not simple and straightforward to get there, but the goal is simple and straightforward, which is to get more students moving from levels 1 through 3 to 4 and 5.
Yeah.
More 4 and 5 good, less 4 and 5 bad.
Right.
So we want that, all right?
That's layman's terms for
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So that is unchanged from the previous few years to this year's. The point is to always go up, 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 right? No matter what the number is, keep going up. 5 is a quantitative goal having to do with student attendance. And the only thing I did there, everything remains the same except for last year where our starting point was 8.3. And we wanted to go from 11.3 to 6. I did our current number, which is 8.4, to 5.9% or lower. And then you know, it's just keep on lowering it. Get more students here as best we can, and be measured on it.
Okay.
Because those summative scores that I think Tony mentioned before. Oh yeah, well we all did about the number 1 ranking and stuff. Those are variables. I mean, some of it is student test scores. Some of it is growth. The growth of your scores. It's not like you don't necessarily need the highest test scores, but you need to be growing. And then your chronic absenteeism has to be decreasing as well.
So like on number 5, could you, just within my mind, I would think it would say 8.4 would be 0 then, right? The goal is to remove this down.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so just adjust that.
Yeah.
And I just want to, like, this is not, it goes with your goals, but it's also, it goes to the point of sharing information and like communities and stuff like that. Like, 8.4% is pretty damn good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I look forward to seeing how we're gonna get to 5.9. And with that said,
Yeah.
it'd be nice for the public, like, for sharing how well Hardison is doing compared to neighboring towns, community, and where we are at the state level. Like, being in the single digits right now is really good, and like, compared to probably what other districts are facing. And I think you just said 3 years ago we were 17 point whatever, and now we're 8.4. That's like a 65% reduction in 3 years. Like, well done. That's
Do you
phenomenal.
know, Mike, what other schools percentage are?
I can look that up, but.
I'm just curious to share that in committee or something like
Yeah.
that, and maybe even put it out there to show the community how well we're doing.
Not just community, do it to everybody, the whole board.
Yeah, I really like what you put forth on these goals. I think it's just a great measurable way to move us forward. And I understand, like, we're there, maybe, but we can do better. We can always do better. So.
Agreed. I just like, it's like phenomenal that
Right.
we're there.
Does this, so the performance of these goals here would affect your pay rate?
Not my salary, but above.
Bonus?
Bonus.
Merit.
So you have incentive
Right,
to do well,
Right.
for the school to do well. That's good.
but I have incentive in my heart, that always resides right in here.
I know that sounds corny, but I'm gonna say that's true.
So-
I've seen the guy in action. I
So-
do believe that.
Mike, the
But I still want the
5%,
money.
is the 5%,
Sorry.
is the 5% 5 percentage points, or 5 points, or 5%?
Is this something that we can talk about?
5%.
Oh, yes, you can. As long as you're not conflicted, you can absolutely talk about it.
Meaning in
Because
the-
these are about the mechanics
Meaning
of
in-
setting
Oh,
goals
okay.
too.
It's only meaning in the goal statement? Like the
Yeah, it says
5%
demonstrated
improvement?
5% improvement.
Yeah.
Does that mean from like 67% meet or exceed,
Yeah.
go up to 72?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because, people who are listening on the cameras that don't have the luxury of this, so it's 5 percentage points more that meet or exceed
Exactly.
on the state standardized test.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's goal 3, goal 4, and goal 5.
Can you like add this to the point with, in the minutes, like this, like, because it's on the agenda now, potentially if we're gonna approve it, like these, like a link to this so people can see that?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So like
Gets
right on,
approved next month, I
at the next,
Oh,
okay,
next
so
month.
when it's on next month's agenda. you
Next
put it
Monday
up.
already?
think.
Oh,
Next
wow.
month.
Oh, next month. I was gonna
You
say,
know how, like,
yikes, I better take
you-
that
I
down.
know how you
as soon
hyperlink
as I
the
get home.
policy and stuff like that and everything, like hyperlink your goals and the board goals and the document there, so people can see all these things on the agenda, like transparency and stuff. That'd be good.
I think we did that last year too, but
Yeah.
I just have to be reminded.
You did. I'm almost certain you did. And I think that link might even still be up there.
Okay.
All right. So we have 5, 4, and 3. Let's talk, those are the
Okay.
quantitative goals. But there are 2 qualitative goals in
Okay.
accordance with the requirements. So Mike, what have you got on those?
Sure. 1 and 2 come from some board ideas and some feedback in the CSA evaluation. So goal number 1 is to host community dialogues with the superintendent. The superintendent will organize and facilitate a minimum of 1 monthly community dialogue session throughout the 25-26 school year to enhance transparency, strengthen relationships, and increase community engagement with district initiatives. So part of that evidence is to publish a yearly schedule of that monthly schedule happening, communicated obviously out to the public, conduct at least 10 sessions, 1 per month, September through June, post public summaries or key takeaways following each meeting, track and report the attendance for each session, and 5 will be tough. Participant survey shows an 80% or greater, with those that do the survey, agree that sessions improved communications. As long as there's 80% positive feedback,
Yeah.
is what I'm looking for.
Sure.
So that was my stab
How
at.
will you get that feedback? Excuse me, Mike.
There would have to be a survey.
Written response, a verbal response?
No, I
Have a
think,
survey.
I think, what?
Survey?
You're gonna
Yeah, I know,
Have a
no,
survey.
no, there has to be some sort of data collection to show that. I mean, it's a qualitative thing, but I think that could be a quantitative
Right.
piece of evidence.
Thoughts on this goal?
I know part of it, the conversation, I don't want to speak too candidly because of valuation stuff in there too, was the concept of a partnership. So HTEA, CSA, and BOE. And like, could this be an avenue where, it's not contractual usually stuff that you're talking about in there, or is that a different vein of maybe we're looking to explore of like, having
Goal
like,
number 2.
what's
Is
that?
that goal number 2?
Yeah, goal number 2. So-
Oh, are we talking about goal number 2 now?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Why don't you, but before we do that, because I'm kind of methodical this way.
I went backwards because we just did 3, 4, 5. So.
How are
He
we?
doesn't like to jump around, so-
Understood. I'll save my question.
Understood, but the things you were speaking to were about goal number 1, right?
Right.
So to, iron out goal number 1, how do we all feel about goal number 1, which is to host monthly community dialogues with the superintendent and all of the
I think it's
moving
great.
parts underneath
I
that?
mean,
Sound good?
What do you think?
Mike, I'm just curious, maybe I'm getting too ahead of things. Just, is the intent to have those in person or virtual?
I think both. I think each month it has to, I'd like to be face-to-face. I'd prefer face-to-face. But I would imagine people would probably appreciate multiple avenues. Yeah.
Could you put on there like a question and answer, like almost a quarter suggestion box, but like so people can ask things for you, and
yes.
then now you can go there and address it, right?
Yeah.
So you're not just standing there in front of a microphone. And,
Well, I don't want it to be one way either. I don't want
They
to.
should have questions, and maybe they show up, but then they can put their question in a box,
Oh, prior.
prior, so you can, you can research it, and then you can go there with some information.
Yeah. I think it's great.
Jean, any thoughts? What are you thinking? Thumbs up, thumbs down, meds are meds? Thumbs up, okay, very good. You got a thumbs up from online, perfect. Thank you very much for bearing with us, Jean, much appreciated. And now we'll go to the last goal to talk about, interestingly enough, which is number 2 out of 5. So,
Well, I just figured.
yeah, why not? All right, so speak to that.
So, goal number 2, collaborate with the HTEA, which is our union, to support struggling staff and enhance work environment. Superintendent will partner with the Hardison Township Education Association to develop a structured support system for staff who may be struggling and to foster a positive, collaborative, and productive work environment. I will say, I mean, through this is my 10th year being here as superintendent in Hardison, the partnership with the HTA is tremendous. It wasn't always the case early on, but through the years, there's been a lot of, when you live with somebody and work with somebody for a long period of time and you go through things, that's hopefully what happens, is that you learn each other, you learn that you're both good people, and you want to do good things for students and the adults. So I think we have a good foundation for that already. I think the point of this goal is to just to really be transparent and make it even more structured, just to say, we're here for you, all right, for whatever that means. So some pieces of the evidence is to establish a joint committee, develop a written process for identifying and supporting staff in need, implementing at least 3 targeted initiatives to improve climate, provide training or resources to support professional growth, and some sort of staff survey that shows 80% or more agree that this support structure has improved the work climate environment.
Thank you. Thoughts on this?
The first part was, sorry, I jumped ahead or back. I started at 3, 4, 5, I thought we were going backwards. We talked about HTA and admin administration. Is there any thoughts potentially, there's like the full partnership with the concept of like BOE involvement on the listening session component of a joint committee?
Careful.
Well, it's got like non-contractual issues.
Dude, it speaks for the board's role,
Okay,
so careful there.
okay. I just.
Plus, these are your goals, these are your merit goals. So, I mean, I'm sorry, I just saw a yellow light flashing in my mind, so.
Tell me why.
Because it is not the board's role to interact with teachers and find out what they think, you know, their superintendent should be doing or is doing. That's, you know, all of that is running the school, and that's not the board's role.
So, and I guess my vein here is I'm trying to be polite and respectful, but like there's a concerns and that, you know, like about if stuff is happening or not. So be able to include people in the process in there. And I do know of other boards that have this where everyone comes together to listen to concerns and they don't administrate, but they're just there to listen and bring it back to the, you know, the full board in general to try to solve these things with administration. So I just throw it out there,
I
but
think
like,
you're talking about two separate things. So
okay, what am I talking about?
This is Mike's goal.
So
right?
that could be a different thing.
Right.
Okay.
So that's another initiative that
Fair,
we're
okay,
talking
all right.
about. We could have a night with the HTEA and have a
All right, all right, so that's a different thing, but don't include it in the goal.
Also,
Okay.
on tonight's agenda, we have a survey policy that we're going to approve, which actually includes all sorts of, it's a skeleton to include various options moving forward.
Excellent.
So we could do that, but it's not.
It's not in this vein.
Right.
All right.
So, and we do approve Mike's goals tonight, but only to send them to the county. And then
They're not formally approved,
The
and then we
approval,
have to
they're
approve.
formally approved, but the approval from the county would come back for next month.
And then we have to approve again?
Yeah, well, I would, but we don't have to, but I would. Just
Okay.
All right, great.
The one, can I ask you to do, like, you do a phenomenal job of reporting to us on a more quarterly basis of like your other goals. So it'd be really good if like, hey, this is, you know, like almost that document that you have, and this is our progress on these merit goals throughout it. I know the assessment scores you're probably not gonna get, right? But like, oh, at the end of the first market period, this is our
The
chronic.
things that can be reported on.
Exactly. So it's just like, I think that'd be good to, as you do for the board goals.
All
Good
right.
idea. Anyone else?
Thoughts on goal 2? Nice. I think we've got our 5 merit goals. Nice work, everybody. All right, moving along, all right? So you will adopt these as written, send them to the county, perfect, and then reapprove them after they've gotten the imprimatur from the county superintendent. So, board goals. This is for the board, by the board, and this addresses your role, right, in school governance. And basically, it's just like any other type of goal planning, you know. Sometimes you want to recognize where you've been and what you're doing well. You also want to talk about where you're going as a board and where do you want to be, right? Those are 3 great questions to always ask yourselves as you go into a goal-setting exercise. And for board goals, I found that the most helpful basis to start this conversation is to look at last year's board goals. If there are any emerging issues in board governance, we could address those through the goals, and any kind of areas for improvement. Now, typically, we were talking about multi-year goals at the beginning of this presentation, and the Hardestin Township Board of Ed board goals have, for at least the last 2 years, have been multi-year goals. So let's start with examining these goals and see how you guys have been doing at them. Completing mandatory training as early as possible, and also completing non-mandatory training to enhance your governance skills. Thoughts on how that goal has been working out from the board?
This year it's been pretty good.
Everybody finished their training on time?
Yeah.
Really? Nice. That's great.
We
Okay.
also did engage in non-mandatory. We had a couple meetings, like we had
Nice.
Robin come and train us on special education. Of course, Kelly came in and did the mandatory ethics training. We also had a secondary component about peer conflict, which was a good session, I think,
Okay.
like in general. So I think we did do some non-mandatory stuff as well, too, to meet that goal.
Some other non-mandatory training are the county meetings that happen periodically throughout the year. And although it doesn't happen at your board meetings, every board member is invited to go, and they're very useful, and they're a great way of attaining professional development. So it sounds like this one has been successful so far, right? Do you want to keep this going as a board goal?
We could. I wanted to ask you, could we have a goal, let's say, supporting the administration to establish district goals set forth, or monitor progress of district goals in committee meetings, or could that be also our goal?
Could you, the short answer is yes, I think so, but let me hear that again.
Support the administration to establish the district goals set forth.
Mm-hmm.
Monitor progress of district goals in committee meetings and update the community.
I like the second sentence. The first one is just what you guys do, right? So that's just so vanilla, that's like, you know, I don't think it's necessary.
Right.
But that extra part, I think, brings to life how you're going to keep your district goals, how you're going to keep your board members fluent in your district goals.
Right.
Because I'll tell you, Donna, when I was a board member, especially like my first term, I like, don't be like me. Like, I was like, when it was time to do the CSA evaluation, I was like, what was our district goals again? Like, I don't know. Like, that's a bad board member, so don't be that way. But what you're proposing as a possible district goal will, you know, avoid other board members falling into that trap because you've made it, you know, an objective. And Mike, you, I know, have on your calendar that you're regularly updating the board on the goals. But to keep those conversations going in committee, that, again, it's not my goals, but that sounds like a good endeavor to me, but what does the board think?
What do you guys think about that? Just having it a little more, like monitoring the progress, that we're setting all these goals, but once we walk away, how do we know, what do we know, how do we actually measure it or look at it, or?
I think it's a good goal if you add the concept as well with it, Donna, of like be prepared. You know what I mean? So like show up when you show up to a meeting, and when you show up to a committee meeting, you're well prepared to speak to the issues of the committee that you're on, right? And then because then it makes us more effective and more efficient.
Right.
And then the secondary point of that is like updating the community and be prepared to do that, and having cordial and civil discourse and conversations while we're in committee and while we're public as much as possible. Like when we disagree, be respectful toward one another, and
Right.
I think that's a general overarching good concept. I think what I mean, just be prepared and report out and be ready to roll.
If you don't mind my asking, Mike, what are your thoughts on this?
I definitely like this being a board goal, because I always present during the year, right? But I don't often get feedback, right? It's just, I want feedback throughout the year, not at last minute, when it's too late, right?
Right.
I don't think that's fair. It's like being in a classroom. Again, I like these analogies, and the student is going to fail, but the teacher hasn't given feedback all semester until the report cards do.
Yeah.
I want to be the student that is given a chance to improve early on, because that's not only good for me, it's good for the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what the board's focus is on the students. Right. So if this makes good sense to you, I think that's a real noteworthy consideration.
So we're
What's the rest of
suggesting a
the board feel
quarterly
about?
update?
Well, we're not saying,
is that the time?
We're not even saying anything right now. We didn't come up with that part of it. It's just to monitor progress of district goals in committee meetings. So it would be on a monthly basis and updates the community. So it's just like an ongoing.
It could always be on the committee agendas.
Right, we could have this on it, right, that would be great. I think it's, everybody,
I like that.
everybody think?
Okay, so I am going to go to, is this it? No, where am I? All right, I'm going to type that in. So Donna, would you give me?
Okay, monitor progress of district goals in committee meetings
Can you say something about feedback?
I was going to just add that
and
provide-
update the
provide-
community. Yeah.
And provide
provide
monitor
feedback.
progress of district goals in committee, monitor progress, okay, I'm gonna say discuss, monitor, and discuss. I mean, discuss is giving feedback. What do we want to
I
put?
want feedback
We
in
want
there.
the word feedback in there, right?
And I think that's
Yes.
where, because I guess, because I do agree with what Dr. Ryder said, is that like, he does present and, feedback should be given right away. If you're not happy with something, or if you want something, rather
That's
than
it,
waiting.
it's just a win-win for everyone, and we are also gonna be able to know what these goals are, and it's gonna be like once a year. What were the goals again?
Yeah, I like that, just, that discuss, discuss, monitor, and,
Good
Yeah.
feedback on
Provide
progress
feedback.
towards district goals
That's
in committee meetings, right? Okay, Donna?
Yes,
Continue.
and update the community.
Kathy,
Yep.
does that go into something beyond the board though? Because how is the community going to be updated?
Well, we'll go through your channels with,
No,
Well-
you do that every quarterly presentation.
Yeah.
or, I
I'm
mean,
not saying,
we
I'm not
can
saying I don't want
add-
to, I'm not saying I don't want to update the community. I do want to update the community. But what I'm saying is, board goals are usually things that the board does.
it's not the
Right.
But
board's
the
job.
way I'm thinking about
I
this,
guess that's the whole
you're
point, it's like-
updating,
Okay.
the way I'm reading this, and maybe this points to the need for more clear, to very clear language, is updating the community, is, that goes right in your committee reports.
Right,
That's what you do
committee
anyway, right?
reports, and also like I started president's report, where I can actually say those things. And
So
have
update the
everything there.
community through monthly reports given at the board meetings.
Right,
Like, it's not the board's job to post things and, be the voice of the community online or anywhere else.
Yeah, you don't want to start having like coffee with the board, I mean,
Or
that's
or
not, yeah,
updates, or,
exactly,
like, that's not our
exactly.
goal.
Facebook
on-
time
yeah.
with the board.
That's right.
Social
Oh,
media
yeah, I was
posts.
just following our board goal, right? No, we
But
don't want that.
but I, that's why I think
Yeah.
my eyebrows raised up too. It's just like, somebody might take that and be like, well, I was told it's a goal to update the
No.
community, so I'm
Let
flocking
me
to
tell
Facebook.
you, thank you very much for that. One of my friends is a surgeon, and her mantra, which I've adopted, is that there is no substitute for clarity. So that's why these discussions are really, really valuable. So the board understands what that means. And I think that the language we have here on the screen reflects that, but you tell me. To discuss, monitor, and give feedback on progress towards district goals in committee meetings and update the community during monthly Partisan Township Board of Ed meetings.
yes,
Is that good?
yes.
All right. Nick, you also mentioned a facet to this that is not addressed in this, but might be a separate goal. And that is for board members to come to committee meetings prepared.
I just meant come to our meetings prepared in general,
Oh,
so
okay.
committee meetings and,
Okay.
and I guess what I said that ready, and what I meant by that as well too is, it's okay to debate, it's okay to have discourse, it's okay to talk and have conversations and, and continue to do that, but keep positive and, be prepared to do
Right.
so and keep prepared to keep moving us forward in that dialogue as well too. I think that, but the bigger thing is just be prepared and be ready to come in and engage and keep moving us forward.
Right, and I've been doing that with emails to the entire board, telling them ahead of time what's coming up, what we need to look at, read, concentrate on. So we've done that internally via emails at different levels. So,
I agree, it's just like,
Preparations.
you have told us to do it, so it's just like, been at some meetings when it seems obvious that some people might have not have followed through on what you told them to do. You know what I mean? You may have, I may have, but like, it's like,
right.
I think it's just encouraged, we're here to work, it's, we're diligent on it.
So I kind of wrote this as a goal. I don't know if you guys think that you need this as a goal,
Hey, you're
but
always ready to
as we were talking, I said, board members will come to committee and board meetings prepared to discuss and vote on matters before the committee and or the board. Matters before the committee and or the board. Does that work?
I would put in a civil manner.
Okay, in a productive, in a, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, the world needs a lot more civility, quite frankly, and,
I don't think we should put that in.
No.
Because we're not
Okay.
civil.
All right.
So should we put in a productive manner?
And productive.
Okay.
Productive. Okay. We want to be productive, not civil.
No, we don't want to be civil, we just want to be productive. Okay.
Yeah, well, let's just say we have an agreement to be civil, we just don't have to, well, let's hope so, right?
Now, do
Let's
we
hope
want to
so.
look at the other goals from last year?
I would agree,
But-
like, the first goal last year should be always like a goal for every year of like, you
Right.
know, do our training and, you know.
Yeah, make
pursue-
sure everybody's trained and on time.
So we'll do that, right?
And then the other two were good too, I mean, like.
So we like
the other
these
one was
two,
good
right?
too, engage in the community.
Yeah, we could add the other two that you had in
We can keep
from
those.
last year, we can keep
Yep,
those.
I'm gonna plunk them right in here.
So make that 3 and 4.
Doubled our goals this year, so.
Yeah.
Whoop, there we go. I mean, I'll switch them around so that the other two are, 3 and 4, but 4 board goals this year, looking good? All right, friends.
Everybody agreed?
Gene, what are you thinking?
Seems good.
Ron?
I'm homesick, so I'm fading fast.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're a champ. Thank you very much.
But I think we're almost done, right?
We are. That is my look at. That's like the last, second to last slide.
It's a good segue.
Okay. So the next
If I
steps.
can I ask one thing? And
Sure.
going back to that productive part,
Yep.
I think it should be put in there about respectful or friendly manner. Is that word, we can't find a good word, smart as we are?
Do we like?
No, it's a little bit loaded, like having,
No, I think we're
not
reading into
being
it.
there. We've been civil.
I'm not saying we weren't.
It's just,
But
it's.
putting it in there,
Respect.
putting it in there puts it where it's in there,
Right.
right? So other board members getting on the board could now, new members will be like, wait a minute, we're supposed to be respectful. I
Right.
don't think it hurts putting that in there.
Okay, fine.
Does that work?
I agree.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you very much. That's a great word. Thank you. Okay. Fantastic. So we've got our draft board goals. What I am going to do, and we've got your district goals, your merit goals. That's a lot of work. Thank you, guys. I remember in years past, we didn't get to the board goals. We were like, some other time, right? So nice work tonight. And what is going to happen from here on out is you're going to be approving these goals formally next month. But the merit goals are you approving tonight to send to the county? So,
Well, if, it's on the agenda right now for new business 1 and 2 to approve all of these goals.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you're ready to word it, we can do that, otherwise we can take it off until next month.
well,
Dr.
me
Ryder's
being
goals
ready
are
to
approved
word
tonight.
it would be, just cutting it, I mean, that's a matter for the board. I've got that stuff on the slide. If you want to use that language tonight and put that into a resolution, I mean, that works for me.
It's up to the board, it could go tonight or next month.
I'm okay with going tonight with it.
I'm
If
okay with
everybody's
it.
okay.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess the resolution will be like, however you want it. Do you need me to hang out for this, or?
No, I mean.
No,
Okay.
I think it just says motion to approve the goals as presented and then the board goals as presented and.
Right.
Fantastic. This is a super, we really did eat our Wheaties this morning. This is fantastic. Nice work. All right.
We were productive.
We already accomplished the goal.
Productive and
productive and
respectful. See, there you go. There you go. It's in your blood.
We were civil.
It's in your blood. It's beautiful. And your kids are going to benefit from that. I can't underline that enough. I really can't. That's why you're here. And that's why productive and respectful and student-focused conversations matter. Not just at this meeting, which is my delight to facilitate. You guys know I love coming here every year. But for every meeting, right? For every meeting. So what I would also suggest, however, is that you put these on your board website, which I think that you do. And then you're going to be, Mike's going to be updating you, the board's going to be updating its own progress on district goal, on its own goals, board goals. But Mike is going to create action plans for you all to see, just so that you can see how he's moving through the goals, not that you need to approve the action plans, approving the goals is what you do. And that's what you're going to do tonight, so kudos. And you will be using those district goals as the basis of the CSA evaluation in March 2026. Any questions or thoughts before I conclude? I'll put up my last slide. Anything? All right.
No, thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, guys, have a great rest of your meeting. Thank you for all your hospitality, and I look forward to hearing how you're doing on all these goals, all right? So take
Thank you.
care. All
Good
right.
night.
Grab a cookie on the way out.
Oh, I am so grabbing another drink. Thank you, Sue. Obviously, I did a lot of talking tonight, and I appreciate your indulgence. Jean, feel better, okay? And that goes for you too, Ron. All right.
Thank you again. Okay, now we're entering a public comment. Please limit comments to action items on agenda only. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes on any subject on the agenda. We need a microphone back in the middle. Yeah, this is agenda items only. Please come up to the microphone if you would like to make a comment. Okay, seeing none, we're moving on to, and we're not going to executive session until the end. So we're going to old business, look at the meeting dates, new business, motion to approve 2025-2026 district goals as presented.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Alfano?
Yes?
Mrs. Barrett?
She said yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Carey?
Yes.
Mr. Demsack?
Yes.
Mr. Drellick?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Ms. Murata?
Yes.
Mr. Reinley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion to approve 2025-2026 board goals as presented.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Mr. Alfano?
Yes?
Mrs. Barrett?
Yes.
Mrs. Carey?
Yes.
Mr. Demsack?
Yes.
Mr. Drellick?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Ms. Murata? Yes. Mr. Reinley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Meeting minutes. Motion to adopt meeting minutes from July 8th and July 29th. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Alfano?
Yes?
Mrs. Barrett?
Yes.
Mrs. Carey?
Yes.
Mr. Demsack?
Yes.
Mr. Drellick?
Yes.
Abstain. Abstain, please.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Ms. Murata?
Yes.
Mr. Reinley?
Yes.
Thank you.
HIB report.
There's no HIV report.
Fantastic.
Do we still adopt it?
No.
Finance and facilities.
Motion,
Finance first. Go ahead.
motion to approve action items F1 through F13. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I'd just like to make a comment on that 13. I do appreciate and look forward to voting on confirming to continue to use Joe and Robin for legal services for the remainder of this year through June and hopefully onward. I'll just say this, and you're there, Joe, you act with your integrity. You know, you've offered key advice to this district for the last 10 years. You've kept us out of major legal issues that I have seen in my 12 years here. You know, we have a great relationship with our administration and our current union. I know we're entering a negotiations year this year as well too, so your experience in there too will help guide the district and create a fair and equitable agreement. And last but not least, you act with integrity, and I look forward to working with you. And I did appreciate that you also offered ideas on how you can expand the partnership with the school board, and I look forward to working with you on those ideas over the next year.
Thank you. And thanks to the board as well.
Thank you.
Call it.
Yes.
Mr. Alfano?
Abstain on F13, yes to everything else.
Thank you. Mrs. Barrett? Mrs. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Demsack,
Yes.
Mr. Drellick,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucarelli,
Yes.
Ms. Marata,
Yes.
Mr. Reinley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Facilities operations.
Motion to approve FO1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, call it.
Mr. Alfano,
Yes.
Mrs. Barrett,
Yes.
Mrs. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Demsack,
Yes.
Mr. Drellick,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucarelli,
Yes.
Ms. Marata,
Yes.
Mr. Reinley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Curriculum and programs. Motion to approve CP1 to CP4. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Alfano,
Yes.
Mrs. Barrett,
Yes.
Mrs. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Demsack,
Yes.
Mr. Drellick,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucarelli,
Yes.
Ms. Marata,
Yes.
Mr. Reinley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Personnel. Motion to approve P1 to P27. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
I just have for, we have to pull P25 just because we were not able to fill that position yet.
Right, okay. So,
So it's the same position that
yeah, all without P25. Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Alfano,
Yes.
Mrs. Barrett,
Yes.
Mrs. Carey,
Yes.
Mr. Demsack,
Yes.
Mr. Drellick,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucarelli,
Yes.
Ms. Marata,
Yes.
Mr. Reinley.
Yes.
Policy. Motion to approve POL1. Second reading and adopt the following policy. 912801, School Culture Survey. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
I'd like to make a comment, if I could. After the last meeting, we had some dialogue, some discussion, and I followed through on what the recommendation was to email the committee and bring forward any questions that you had. So I did send an email, I believe it was July 18th, with 3 questions that I had to the committee. One was, what other schools had this? Because these were things that were said were going to be provided. What is the list of the free survey vendors, because that's what it says to do. And I also asked the concept and the question for the committee of, because it was discussed about removing the inclusivity and equity phrase inside of it. And, I asked a simple question of why is the concept of inclusivity and equity bad in our schools? So I got a response back. The entire board saw the response. I followed the chain of command and just, sent it there, but everybody saw the response back. Where it was just one answer that a list of the third-party vendors, which I appreciate, which I appreciate the concept there. The other questions weren't asked, so I did my own research. No other schools have this policy. There are no schools that have this policy. This is the only one, so much so that the policy had to be created by Strauss Esme and put in a format, and there was nothing there. We already survey our students and our staff, and it's part of there. And the second question of, and I'm not getting theater, I'm not going to make any motions and do anything like that. I'm just making my comment of why I oppose the policy as it is standing. I still didn't get the question of why the concept of equity and inclusivity in the school setting is bad. I mean, the whole
I would
concept.
like to answer that question. I'm ready to answer that.
Can I finish mine? And then I
Sure.
absolutely look here, because
Okay.
it says it in the statement, in the policy itself. It says to assess and improve the learning environment, the BOE mandates an annual school survey to gather anonymous feedback from students, staff, and surveys to create a positive learning environment. And I'm talking about our students, and that's number one. I also want to look at my other reasons why it isn't just equity and inclusivity. And this is in general here, and this is for everybody, not just the policy committee. To clarify to everybody, I support the overall concept of the policy. Information in general is good. It provides a current grounding of our practices and our status from the district, from the students, teachers, parents, and guardians' perspectives, in order to refine approaches. What I'm concerned about is the language that's in there, or the lack thereof. One instance I have concerns about is the phrasing that we must first seek our third-party vendors, rather than entrusting our administration and school leaders to create and conduct a survey. we just approved merit goals, which you're going to pay him by doing surveys. So we trust Mike to give surveys and give us feedback on paying him more for merit, but we don't trust him to give a feedback and doing that in regards to staff students. It's contradictory. It doesn't make sense. The policy is implying that the board doesn't trust administration, as it's currently written, to create and conduct the survey, but indicates that they are still responsible for the results and provide actionable steps afterwards. Doesn't make sense. Additionally, through serving students, we are trying to ensure that our children feel that they be treated equally in the school, feel valued as individuals, and we have to question if current processes make them feel included in the school's programs and activities. By removing the word equity and inclusion, you just negated that central tenet of educational practice. Additionally, as we just saw today, one of our district goals, one of the 5-year plan is access and equity. So I just don't understand this as a father, as an educational leader. I want all of my students to feel like they'd be included. I want my own children to feel like they'd be included, whether they have special needs or whether they have special requirements, and that's where equity comes in. We're ensuring that they are providing it. I really don't understand it, and I'm just like, I'm giving my reason why I support it as no.
Right.
So that's it.
Okay, that's fine. And I just want to answer the questions about the DEI policies, because it actually categorizes students based on a group identities such as race, gender, socioeconomic status, or disability, rather than treating them as individuals with unique needs and merits. This can foster division, undermine unity, and shift focus from academic excellence to ideological goals. So DEI curriculum might require teachers to discuss systemic racism in a way that it assigns guilt or victimhood based on the students' racial groups, leading to tension. For instance, lesson might group students by race or focus by white privilege, minority disadvantage, making kids feel judged and isolated by their skin color rather than their actions. So those are just some examples I put together because this is the second time you asked me about it. And that's why I believe we didn't have this particular policies and that word as equity. We always had equality, merit-based, and it treated everyone equally. So,
Equally and equity are different, right?
well, I don't know. I mean,
You don't know?
The way,
Okay, can
Go ahead.
I explain?
Yes.
Okay, so, if we have a child who has a visual handicap, and that child needs, say, Braille books, that's equity. Equality would be giving that child the same book that everybody else in the class has, but they couldn't read.
I disagree.
Well, that's what it is.
In education, but I'm saying, I agree, okay, but in education, that's an example. So that's why I keep saying in the school setting, and I ask 2 simple questions like that I would love any children to be able to answer freely. Do you feel included in your classroom and activities? And do you feel like you're given...
That's a great question.
But that's inclusivity. Thank you. But that's what you're saying.
Equality, merit-based,
And
all three.
the equity question, that would be...
I just pointed out what happens with equity. And
But I'm also
people
pointing out
are
other
just
things,
prioritized by identity labels, undermining traditional values and individual's character or shared community. And that's why I personally object to that word.
Now, I'm sorry.
But that's,
Could you say
I'm
that
only
again?
one.
I agree.
Why do
appreciate
you
your...
object?
Thank you. Good conversation.
Because I believe that everybody should be treated equally, and nobody should be discriminated. And there should be not one particular class elevated to discriminate the other class, I just find that...
So you think equity is discriminating?
Yeah.
In the education setting, and that's what I'm saying there, you gave examples of what you felt like. I was giving you examples of what inclusivity and equity could be. You know what I mean? And that's how I see it.
Right.
And when
Well, I
I feel...
appreciate your view.
But I'm saying,
you have to respect
but you
my
just
view
agreed with me
as
that
well.
those things that I brought up on are not bad. Like if you feel like you have the resources that are available to you and you feel like you're being included in the schools, that's inclusivity and that's equity. So the other things are, I get what you're saying there, but from my standpoint, when I see it, that's how I view it, is that that situation there is that every student has different needs, right? That's why we have all these different programs.
Right.
We don't just have a third grade classroom where there's 28 kids in there and we just throw them all in there and they get the same teaching. We have different programs.
Right.
We have different services. They're getting equity. But what I would like to know is, what I think of this is that student who is in a, so you might not know educational terms, right? But like, it's okay, we'll talk, like there's in-class resources, pull-out resource. So a kid is in the general education setting, right, that has special education needs. Do they feel included there? And then do they feel like they're getting the services that they need? Do they feel like that they're part of it? And I, you know, I've experienced.
Absolutely, I don't have a problem with it.
But when we did-
But
but you-
the word was substituted somewhere along the way, and it was used by different groups to actually make one group better than the other.
So why don't
And that's
we
what's
lead?
not
So
what
I guess
this is about.
this is my point as a board, is why don't we lead? And why don't we show what we feel inclusivity and equity is, not what the national
Political
I'm
situation.
not even gonna, just like what other districts are doing or what other people view it to be, because now if we create a policy, the board oversees that policy and can actually see what we're asking the students and how that translates to it. Because I just heard some commonalities. You do agree with some of the things that I'm saying of how it is inclusivity and equity. I do understand some of the concerns that you're presenting. But I think a big part of this, of how we need to come together and find middle ground.
Well, I
And it's like, it's an all or nothing.
appreciate what you're saying. No, I'm not saying that. Let's bring it back to the committee. Let's vote on this tonight, and we can always revise this policy moving forward. So,
Middle ground would be sending it back to the committee right now and continuing the conversation, because the
no, I don't
policy
think so.
itself.
It's been out there for 2 months already. There is a motion on the floor to vote for it.
There's been no discussion on it. This is the first time, seriously, that we're having an open conversation about some of these things that are included.
We've
in
had
it.
a conversation about it at the last meeting, and also, and then the entire month went by, and there was no conversation.
I
And
sent
it did-
emails and
I
you didn't
did
respond.
I did reply.
You didn't
I
res- you didn't
replied
respond to
4
it.
pages.
I sent the second one, you sent 4 pages worth of the third-party surveys. That's what you sent me. You didn't respond to the questions. I gave it time, I sent a follow-up email, because you included the entire board on it, and I wasn't doing that. I just followed your direction and sent it to the entire committee, so that when you sent an email through, I responded to the entire board, and for that matter, nobody responded back to me. And I sent that email on July 26th, it's August 12th. Like, you know, like, I'm frustrated because
I'm
I'm trying
sorry,
to
but I
engage in
did
dialogue.
reply to you. I sent you an email back. I think everyone on the board got that same email.
But everyone got the email from me, and there was no response to that second email, Donna. And the conversation stopped, and I guess my point, I'm trying my best to articulate why. I'm not gonna change like your mind, I just want you to understand why
I
I have
appreciate,
these concerns.
I understand. And again, motion,
See if anybody else has any comments.
anybody else that has any comments?
Yes, I have a comment. Nick, I feel like this is a survey for kids. I feel like you're making it more difficult than it needs to be. I feel
No,
like
no.
if you said to a kid, do you feel like we're treated equally? They can answer that, yes or no. And it has nothing to do with providing them with the extra things that they need in the class. We always listen like that. That's a given, you know, but it's a simple survey, I think, which is, I'm sorry, I have just brain fog tonight, but, you know, I just feel like when they're taking over a word, and I think equality fits the bill here. I don't think we need to have equity in inclusivity. You know what I mean? You're talking about grammar school, you're talking about, you know, come on, this is ridiculous. We're just doing this school culture survey. You know, that's my input.
Thank you, Jean.
Thanks, Gene.
Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Good. I think this, I have some prepared remarks, but it's fluid conversation as we're talking. I think the granular nature of what we're discussing right now speaks to why this entire topic should not be a board policy. We've had district leaders get surveys for many years. They've reviewed the feedback. It's reflective, and they've made changes based on that. Elevating something like this to a board policy level when, by the time this survey is administered to the community, and if I understand correctly, it wouldn't just be to students, but we would send it to parents and other stakeholders. people sitting at this table will no longer even be on the board. So this is, to me, this is an overreach by the board. We entrust our school leaders to solicit feedback in whatever means they see fit, and they've done that for many years. The fact that we're mincing words and talking about what should be in there and looking at third-party options when we have people in our district that could solicit this very same feedback, I do feel, I very firmly feel that this is an overreach by the board to do so. And the fact that, as Nick noted, it had to be put into policy like document by Strauss Esme so it could even be something that we vote on. Also, I think speaks to the fact that this is an overreach. So I will be voting no for those reasons. I know you disagree, but again, I mentioned this in committee last week, but I did want the rest of the board to hear my perspective on it. And when I think of, I mean, there's so many things I think of what goes, a student moves to the district. You know, inclusivity, how long till that student was sitting at a table, or how long did it take to make friends? Did he or she feel welcome when they arrived in the building? What is the 4th to 5th grade transmit? There's so many different things.
We're not creating the questions for this survey. We're not telling anyone.
I agree, we shouldn't be. We should entrust.
We're not. This is just a framework and ability for everyone to sit at the table and actually get real information without any bias and coercion or whatever it might be. It's
collusion. Was that a good
coercion? Like if somebody wants to, is not.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, if somebody feels uncomfortable, like maybe going or saying the real truth, how they feel. This is a tool actually for everyone to be able to bring good ideas forward.
You just said that we don't create the survey. All right, survey design.
Survey itself is not part of this.
Okay, survey, it's in the policy. Survey design and content. The survey shall be used as a validated evidence-based instrument approved by the BOE. So we see the survey and we approve it or not. So we have a hand in the survey because now people are going to look at the survey, want to change questions in the survey.
That's going to be another discussion.
But you just told us in there that we don't have a hand in the survey. Like we do.
Right now, it's a framework for this type of survey, and you might say doesn't exist. It exists in multiple districts around New Jersey and around the country.
And we've done these surveys before, and it hasn't been in policy. Some of the one when you sent me the 4-page email.
We are a policy-making body, and we've had 2 months to bring this forward, and I would like to ask for a roll call on this.
So
is there anybody else who has comments?
I'm not. Joe, if he feels in any way this culture survey is an overreach of.
Can you repeat
The question was whether I feel the school survey policy is an overreach. No. That's what she said.
Yeah.
No, I did look into it. I think that's something the board could do, and this discussion is what comes out of it as to whether you should do it. But legally, it's something we can put into place.
Right.
Aren't we just asking, because I'm not in that policy, I'm not in that committee, so I didn't get to really talk much about it. But isn't it just, and I don't know all those terms we're talking, like where we want to go with them, but isn't it just a survey so someone can come out and speak freely and tell them how we feel? Isn't it as simple as that?
That's the purpose of it.
And then
we're paying for a third-party person to do it.
I know we are.
Whether they're free or not, we're approving it. And the point of that, what I felt, and the other piece is not just the wording of it, is that I just gave the example. We all just unanimously approved giving merit goals that were going to the executive board. 2 of them we're going to base Mike's merit on whether the outcome of those surveys. So we're entrusting Mike and paying him more money or not based off of what comes back of that feedback, but we're not entrusting him to actually do a survey and say impartial and give us the feedback on it. That was the first thing I said, not just that we removed words. What currently is in there is that it also takes the responsibility out of, we're essentially handcuffing Mike and saying, you're not. Yes, in my opinion, these are my opinions. And I'm giving, Eddie asked me my opinion on it, so I'm answering. So that's why
it just removes the raw data from the superintendent and just presents the data that's been qualified typed differently, collected in the same format. So it's unrecognizable where the data comes from. There's nothing wrong with that. It just allows people to speak freely about everything that happens and their experiences. I think it's a great tool for the administration to adopt and move forward with it. And the conversation I had with Mr. Ryder, he didn't object to it. He was open-minded to it. So I'm not really sure why we're getting objections
He's just
here.
telling us his opinion, but wouldn't it be easier for Mike to step away from it? Because there's a little bit of cloudiness? I'm thinking it would be. I mean, just because we ask him to do this survey, we don't have to read into it that we don't trust him. Right?
Like, you're making a policy that it contradicts the other things that we're doing, Eddie. We're to Don's point, we're a policy-making body. We're creating a policy which we have just said, it's okay, we trust you to do other surveys, but now we want a third party to do it, which we possibly are going to pay for.
Well,
but we're gonna
hopefully he
approve.
can adopt this as a policy, and he can actually use this
Well, that's why
policy
you can send it back
for
to
his
David,
merit
send it back
goals.
and actually have a candid conversation about it too. But
No,
that's
I
not
mean,
gonna
I
happen.
think it's just a form of delay and always just,
Yeah, this is my point. Every time I bring up something, you think that I'm always delaying you something, put it down. These are my opinions, Donna. And
Okay,
I'm doing it very civilly right now.
So you and Brian are objecting to a culture survey in general?
No, if you listen to what I said there, information is good.
Mhm.
I am not happy with the language that was included, which implies it contradicts other things that we're doing, and saying that we have to do a survey and pay for a third-party vendor, and then approve it and creates more responsibility on us. And the second piece is I don't like we handpick certain things in there, because we created the policy. There was no guidance for this. It's probably put in ChatGPT and then sent over to Strauss Esme to put it in there. And
no, it wasn't.
Didn't we talk about this? And I'm just trying to catch up.
This has been discussed. I mean, to
No,
get
no,
the
I'm talking
parents-
I
about
want to get the vote going, because we
Kids
can just
involved.
continue.
Donna, that's
for
why I
another
feel
hour.
I feel like you're kind of rushing me then.
Okay, fine.
Right? Weren't we in that meeting before, and in that executive meeting?
there's two different things.
Is it something I missed? That's why I'm trying.
There's a third thing that I think
Well, I
I
thought-
don't want to say that publicly what's going on, but like there's two things.
Well, we were in that meeting and every law firm said to do it.
That's something else, Eddie.
Something else?
Yes, don't say it, that's something else.
Okay. A roll call, please.
Do you have anything else though, Eddie? Like, that was good.
Well, I don't know I don't know what we're really 100% talking about. So, I mean, I'd like to be clear, and I'm not allowed to get in that committee because then it's,
I'm not in that committee
It has to
either,
be
but I
one.
appreciate the.
And I'm not either.
I appreciate the conversation.
well, that's what we're trying to have.
And and I thank you, because that's all I'm trying to do is like bring up my points and just have a civil discourse about it, and instead of just.
So if you're pretty much on board with it, it sounds like, except for some terminology.
And in the email that I sent, it was just like, if we change certain things, I'd be 100% around it. But like, I'm only one person, but I'm articulating my views of why I don't support it. But before I just vote no, I wanted to give the reason why, because I didn't want it to be
I
spun.
appreciate it, and we can always revise it
Right,
down the
but
road. It's just like any other policy, we can bring it up at the next
But I
time.
didn't want to be spun that somebody who says, oh, well, I don't support information. I want to keep people quiet and all. No, I think it's good, and that's why I said that. But there's just
Are we
language.
allowed to ask Mr. Ryder how he feels about this? Are we allowed to ask him about
That's
this?
what it feels like, how does it feel that we want to be, we're implying that you can't survey people and we have to trust somebody else?
Can you enlighten me a little bit on this?
Probably not, but I'll talk. Nothing against you, it's my words. This is one of those things where when there's, a divide in the board, some feel this way, some feel that way, that makes it very, very hard for a superintendent to navigate. Because, you pick one side or the other, and then the other side is upset. You know what I mean? So,
Well, I don't want to put you in that spot.
I understand,
But
but
maybe I should ask
no,
someone else.
no, I do have a point here. I'm just saying, this is one of those things where it's like, oh boy, no, I've never seen it. Every school district that I've ever been in, where I've been an administrator, so this is my third school district where I've held an administrative role. We've always done surveys, and we've done plenty of surveys at Hardiston too, and I had one prepared for this year as well, but we didn't do it because this whole thing came up and I didn't want to be seen as, doing something that I wasn't supposed to be doing. It was a weird circumstance. I'm all for information too. I've never seen a policy that put this in place. I don't think it's necessarily bad having a policy in place. I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, I know what I want to say. I don't want there to be any perception at all, publicly or within the board, that I am an obstacle to information, that I am manipulating information, that holding back.
Keep it
I
secret.
do not want that one bit. So I am for anything that can
Eliminate
and I don't know why anybody would feel that. I don't have any history of that in my 16 years of school administration. So if it's out there that I might do those things, I don't know why, but if it is, my preference career-wise and reputation-wise and ethically, I would want that removed. So I don't want there to be any, I don't want to be perceived as any obstacle to information. That's why going back to when we changed a policy to allow a board president or whoever to contact the attorney, I don't object. I don't want to be seen as a man in the middle that is withholding or manipulating information. Absolutely not. I want no part of that. So while I agree with Nick in that I don't understand wording, but I'm not going to get bogged down in inclusivity and equity. If we all agree at least that kids are special and they all have individual needs that we are happy to provide every child. Other than that, I don't agree that a third party has to do it. I don't know why I can't, but again, if that's what the board wants to do, then I'll support any avenue that they want to do, and I don't want to be an obstacle.
Thank you, Mr. Ryder, for your input. It's very valuable. And again, the policy moving forward can be revised and can be changed. It can be eliminated, as new boards come on board. And, I just want to put that out there. Let's give it a try. I think it's a fresh start of having more information and provide good feedback to make our schools even better. And that's the only purpose of this. And can I have
Well,
a
I thought the
vote?
most purpose of it, unless I'm going on to something else again, was that people can speak freely.
Yes.
Isn't that the purpose of the whole thing?
That's the purpose.
Yes.
All right, well, if there needs to be more discussion.
You're
All right,
thinking that, we're thinking
I want to
that.
say one thing though about the ability to people to speak freely. I don't think any survey in the past was done where people couldn't speak freely. We've had examples in the past where the union has done it on their end, so they, union memberships and people can and they can analyze the data and give it to administration. They've done that before. Administration has done that through confidential means as well. So I mean, it's not like people speaking freely is a new concept. Is my point.
I understand that, but I guess there's that foggy idea that people can't, obviously, or otherwise we wouldn't be here. I don't know if I'm right or not. I'm just telling you what I feel, what I'm told, heard. So if I was in your position, and I would say go ahead, do what you want. This way now I'm not hiding.
I want people to know the awesome things that are happening and how much people help each other in this district. And whatever way that comes out, I'm supportive.
No, but you understand what I'm trying to say?
No, that's, I'm saying
Now
the
you can
same.
sit back in your chair and be like,
I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying the exact same thing.
And I'm just
And
caught up
I'm
on
saying
what you
the same
think. I'm
thing
just
too.
caught up on like the terminology. I think you feel the same way, but maybe and looking at it as, we don't trust in them. We're trying to eliminate that we do trust in them, but
Then I would just remove the third party thing. You know
No,
what I mean?
because
Like,
then again, you're going to bring the...
because then
It's implying, it's just contradictory to like what we
Okay.
just approved tonight.
Could we just take a vote at this point?
We'll
well,
talk
I would
about
like to put it a month away. That's what I'm asking for, so I can really talk to some people on the side, talk to Nick, talk to you more about it.
I'm
'cause
sorry,
not
we've
100%
had
No,
this
we haven't.
already discussion for 2 months, and
Well, I
it
don't
was
know,
in
no,
committees.
Eddie,
we
you would have to
spoke
make a motion
about
to
this.
table it, and somebody would have to second, and then that would be voted. If you wanted to do that, that's what you
I
would
mean,
do.
we can't motion this, if I can't motion it. No, Donna, I don't want to even get you upset, but I'm saying if I motion this, because I'm not 100% clear on it, I think that's my gut feeling is being on the board of telling you the truth. And if I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, I can't really vote on it.
So table.
Okay, so it's a
And I'm sorry.
survey, just so you know, it's a survey
Yeah, they go ahead.
to
and
make
tell-
sure whatever's going on, we know without any bias from anybody that's actually being the subject of the survey. So it's going to be teachers, it's going to be
Parents.
it's going to be kids, it's going to
Children.
be people, conducted by an anonymous third party, so people can tell the truth if they have an
And
issue.
the data
That's what
is
the language
going
is
to
all
come
about.
into school. The data is coming straight to Mr. Ryder, but it's not going to come in a raw form where you can see who sent it, what person wrote what. It's going to have specific answers to specific questions, which need to still be ironed out and worked out. We're not telling anything about that. It's just a framework to get something like that done. And it's common, and it's been done, and there's free agencies throughout New Jersey that provide that service. It's just, I mean,
I understand.
even our lawyer
The way
could
you
be
just,
the third party.
the way you just explained it to me, I would vote yes for that. When I hear terminology that I don't know about, I don't want to vote yes and do something wrong. But I'm
Thank you.
for putting out something out there where it takes it off Mr. Ryder's shoulders that he's doing anything that people are worried about. I'm for that. I think it makes it easy for him. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel.
Sue, can you please a roll call?
Mr. Alfano?
Yes,
Mrs. Barrett?
Jean?
She muted.
Are you
Yes.
muted? Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Carey?
Yes.
Mr. Dempsey?
No.
Mr. Drellick?
No.
Mr. Hoffman? No. Mrs. Lucarelli?
No.
Ms. Murata?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Any written communications? Thank you, letter from American Heart Association's Elementary Kids Heart Challenge. Okay, public comment. We welcome public comment, open to public on any items. 3 minutes for each speaker, maximum 15 minutes on the topic. We welcome anyone to come up and speak to the board. Please state your name and address.
Michelle Van Allen, 7 Beachmont Terrace. Mr. Ryder, I just want to thank you for the wonderful job you're doing here with the school and your administration and your staff, because both my kids went through the school, not with you being administrator, but I served under you, and I think you're doing a wonderful job, so thank you. Thank you. Also, back when you were having a discussion with Kathy regarding the schools, our students going forward onto high school, I remember that you were trying to do a collaborative with the 4 school districts to put everybody on the same level, so when those kids enter, you do have your students on the same plane as the other ones. That probably didn't go anywhere after a while. And I think you started there right before COVID, and it probably fell apart during that time. So I hope that you'll try to bring that back around again, because if you have kids that are learning the same, they're going to go into the regional high school knowing the same. But I don't know if you can bring that to the table anymore. I do want to mention, I thank the board members that voted no on that policy. It is political. It is political, and shake your head all you want, Don. You know it's political. And if you don't understand the difference between the word equity and equality, you shouldn't be on this board, let alone be board president, because that's what it boils down to. When Nick said about a child that needs a Braille book needing equity versus equality, Susan, that needed equality, you didn't understand that there was a difference there. You're going to give a child that's blind a regular textbook?
No.
A regular textbook? There is a huge difference, and you should know that, which you don't. And serving on this board, I think you're doing it a big injustice, because you're not qualified to be there.
I would
Thank
just
you.
ask no personal attacks, thank you.
It's not a personal attack. I'm stating how I feel.
That's fair.
It's not an attack. And she
Thank
says
you.
lots of stuff outside of here that she should not. She has no report.
Anyone else? State your name and address.
Hi, my name is Dana Kalzik. I live at 18 Hornbeam Way, Crystal Springs. I'm running actually for the seat on the board in the upcoming election. I'm here to raise concerns about a page called Hardison Board of Ed. It's run by the former board member Dave Van Ginnigan. This page is targeting me, current board member Ed Reinley, and other candidates with attacks, false stories, and attempts to ruin our reputations. I believe this is interfering with our election. The name Hardison Board of Education makes people think this is an official board page, but it's Dave's personal views. This misleads our community and is damaging to the board's credibility. I'm asking you to investigate why this page is allowed to use this name that sounds official. It should be renamed Dave's News to show it's not connected to the board. This is a matter for keeping our election fair and transparent. Thank you for listening and taking steps to address this.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We are going to enter.
Yeah, I have one item
Okay.
for executive session,
Yes.
so it will take
What do we,
5 or 10 minutes.
motion for, what for?
Motion to go to executive
Legal
session.
discussion and attorney client privilege.
Oh,
Can I have a second?
can we take 5
No,
minutes? so I can
no
use the-
action.
the boys' room?
Yes, and we'll
So-
take 5-minute break.
No,
Second, please.
He has to sit next to you.
I get it.
No action will be taken after.
No action will be taken
I-
out.
I'm hoping 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, now
Let's say 15 minutes. Let's say
Yeah.
15 minutes.
5
Am
minutes.
I 51?
You're on the
Okay.
clock.
Aye.
That's all I
All
want.
right, thank you.
We have to go in the other room.
Yeah.